Hey y'all, good morning. Me and you, we both running late today. I was hoping to be out here and set up by sunrise, and that sun has just popped up over the trees, so we gotta get after it, man. Let's go. I'm gonna put the camera in the chest here, and we're gonna get some baits cut up and drop them down. I'm already seeing fish here on the screen, so man, we gotta get after them. We gotta catch them. I was hoping to be on the water right here, get us a sunrise bite. And y'all slip in or something today. I don't know what's up, but we out here now. We're gonna make the most of it. I'm gonna get us a skipjack cut up. I'm gonna put a head on and a chunk. These skipjack, they're good and fresh. I caught them yesterday afternoon, so they ought to be very appetizing for any cats that are down there. And what I'm hoping we're gonna get today is a flathead. That's what I'm hoping for, folks. I'm gonna get these baits. Apparently we got civil war going on here behind us. I hear them popping off over there. Hopefully them bullets ain't flying our way. But I'm gonna get these baits cut on, and then I'm gonna, if we live through it, I'm gonna tell you what the plan is for today. And we're gonna hopefully catch us a flathead, maybe some big blues. I'm optimistic about today, folks. I'll explain why here in a minute, but here's our first bait going down. My favorite bait in the world, skipjack head. Although lately, my best fish have been coming on the midsections of the baits I'm using. So we're gonna drop it down and suspend it just off bottom. Right now, it looks like we're 43 feet deep, so our baits will be down there 40, 41 feet deep. This next one here, we're gonna put on a chunk. I'm gonna start out fishing 2 rods and see how that goes. Now my rig here, regular viewers, you've seen it before. It's a Carolina rig, 8-ounce egg sinker, 80-pound monofilament down to a 10-aught size circle hook. And then a few inches below our cut bait, we're gonna have a Catfish Sumo bait stalker fly. And I hope they ain't doing the firing range over here all daggone morning. That's gonna be obnoxious to listen to. I was hoping to get some peace and quiet while we reeled in fish today, but you can't have it all, folks. Well, let's get this chunk on here, and then we'll be in business. And we may, like I said, we're gonna start out fishing with 2 rods. I may end up throwing one out on bottom here as well, and we'll see how this goes for a little while here. I'm planning on fishing maybe 4 or 5 hours today. I'll probably film the first 4 hours of it or so here for y'all, for any of you that want to watch. And I think what I'm going to do is do another kind of unedited video here, just kind of bring you all with me this morning, show you everything from right now when we're dropping baits down until, you know, 3 or 4 hours into this. I'll cut the camera off, maybe get a little 1 or 2 hours of just me fishing off camera. But I've set up here in front of a creek. There's a creek that runs back up in here good ways, gets real shallow back there. And well, there was a splash right yonder there too. But anyway, I come out here, I'm wanting to fish this creek. Now, Chickamauga bite's been real good down here, and they keep popping off back here. It's so annoying. I'm trying to talk on camera, I'm distracted. Hopefully it ain't annoying y'all on camera. Welcome to the South, y'all. Every day this is going on. Your next door neighbor's popping off. But anyway, I've been down here fishing recently. Let me turn this way too, maybe y'all can see the sunrise coming up as I speak a little bit of nonsense here. Been down here fishing though for tournament, which we had this past weekend. I finished 2nd place. Got some pretty good fish, but most of the guys that were down here for the tournament, whether they were in the tournament or pre-fishing this week, they've been getting fish real shallow up in these backwater creeks all up and down the river here. They're getting their bites 10 foot of water or less. And so my regular viewers, you know how I am. I like to suspend fish, and I like to set up in places where fish are going to be working in and out of, right? And so these creeks, they're not staying back there in 5 foot of water, 6 foot of water, 10 foot of water. They're moving up in there feeding, coming back out. And so what we're trying to do here, setting up in front of this creek, is to intercept those fish on the way in and out this morning. So I kind of thought I was going to come out here, set up on the top of the drop, because the way my rods are kind of in the way. I've jimmy rigged this graph on here, but I'll kind of show you. So it's off the screen, but this creek dumps in here, goes back up in yonder, right? So I was kind of thinking we'll set up here at the top. But as I was making my way up there, I noticed I was seeing fish along the bottom here, on the bottom of the drop. And so I thought, well, if I'm seeing fish here, and I went on up to the top just to take a look around. There was some bait up there, but I wasn't seeing any marks. I thought, let's just come back down here. We'll drop anchor here on the bottom and put in a few hours here this morning and hopefully get fish that are either working up and down the channel edge or fish that are coming in out of this creek. We'll intercept them on the way. And I'm hoping today get some flatheads. And I'm gonna just, I don't know why I'm still holding the camera. I'm gonna just put it in the chest here. Y'all can watch these rods go down as we get hit. If we dodging shells out here, which we're apparently gonna be doing this morning. I mean, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, folks. Boy, they getting their practice started early. They apparently have watched that Civil War movie at the movie theaters. I went and seen it the other night. If y'all want me to give you a movie report on it to save you 30 bucks on movie tickets, I will. It wasn't very good, but anyway, what I'm hoping to do is get us a flathead today. Everybody this week has been catching blues. I caught a lot of blues in both practice and on tournament day, but nobody was really busting flatheads. And everybody in the tournament, except for me, was dragging. Everybody. And they were dragging the shallows. And dragging, it's a great technique for blues. But flatheads, you just kind of get them occasionally, sporadically. But doing the fishing we're doing here today, suspending baits, I get flatheads pretty regularly doing this. And so I thought, I want to come back down here. It's a pretty good drive for me. It's an hour and 20 minutes for me to get from my house to where I launched at. And I'm in my pedal kayak today because the launch I used it's all busted up concrete. It's you can't back down and just launch the kayak like a boat. So I had to drag the kayak a little way. So this kayak here, lighter weight, easier to manage in those situations. And it's a fairly short pedal from where I launched to get over here. But I thought, I'm gonna come out here, I'm gonna set up in front of this creek, and I'm gonna suspend baits. Now, suspending baits is my favorite way to fish. I love doing this, but it ain't been the best bite lately. Even on my practice days, I tried suspending some baits. I caught some fish doing it, but most of my fish came with anchored with lines cast out. So we're probably not doing the best technique for the most numbers of fish today, but what I'm hoping for is quality, and I'm hoping for flathead. And we'll see if we get either. Spoiler alert, if you're seeing this, something went right for us. We apparently got on some fish out here today. But ideally, I would like to stay on this one spot, keep our lines in the whole time. If we give this spot, I don't know, an hour or so here, nothing's happening, even though we're seeing the fish, I may go ahead and move up to the top of the drop. That's kind of my thought process on it. But I really just I want to try to get a flathead, and I think this is the best way, gives us the best opportunity to do so, and it's the most fun because I'm in my Old Town kayak, much smaller kayak than my Hobie that you all see me fishing out of fairly regularly. So this kayak, it's just more fun to catch fish out of. You're a little more cramped. I'm limited on how many rods I can fish with, but it's a lot more fun. When the rods go over here, you feel it a lot more. And so it's fun. And I'm hoping we're going to have some fun out here today. Kind of a gamble, you know. I mean, it goes against the grain of what's been working lately. But, you know, there's always multiple bites going on at the same time. For instance, tournament day, right? So Ryan Bortz, he won. He was dragging baits using planer boards. he said his fish were coming 6 to 10 feet deep, backwater creek. He won. I finished second place. I was way upriver on a river bend fishing 32, 35 feet of water, main channel. I was anchor fishing. Totally opposite techniques, opposite ends of the spectrum as far as type of places we're fishing, you know, but we both caught fish. Both techniques were producing tournament winning fish at the same time. So I didn't see it, but y'all might have. The camera was looking that way when that one popped up. I don't know what it was. So anyway, we're going to try this today. It'll either work or it won't. Again, clearly if you're seeing this, something worked, but we're going to go raw and uncut today, folks. We're going to go unedited. Y'all going to see it all just like you were my fishing buddy out here in the kayak or boat with me. I blame y'all for being late this morning. This is why we wasn't out here as that sun popped up. In reality, what really happened to cause us to be late is I got up, I went to put my boot on and realized it was still wet. Yesterday on my bait run, I got back to the launch and there was another one. Man, there's some fish out here, right here on us. They're hanging out right here off this drop, whatever they are. And I'm seeing fish still there on the bottom of the screen. I've jimmy rigged my old graph on this, but I wanted it on here so we can kind of see where we're at with the map card, everything, just confirm that we're in the right location. And so we're in the right spot, man. There's some fish here. But I got back to the launch yesterday where I was catching bait, and there was a couple people, a father and son, they were out there at the boat ramp fishing. And I was trying to go around them best I could because I didn't want to disturb them, but the way I had to land my kayak on shore because of where they were at, I had to step off in a little bit deeper water, and it was too deep for my boot. So my boot filled up with water. My right one did. And so I was hoping it was going to be dried out this morning, and it wasn't. So I threw it in the clothes dryer and let it tumble around for 20 minutes or so before I left. Because it's cold out here this morning, y'all. It may be, I don't know what today is, April 20-something here. 22nd. April 22nd, but it's cold this morning. I think it was supposed to be 38, 40 degrees, something like that. And the wind's blowing a little bit, so it feels every bit of it. So I didn't want to have a cold, wet foot this morning, so my boot, unfortunately, even after throwing it in the dryer, is still wet. So once I cool off, I'm going to have one cold, damp, moist, wet foot all morning. At least my left foot's dry though, by gosh. That's another advantage though of using the pedal kayak today, is even though it's cold, I worked up a little bit of heat, a little bit of body heat pedaling over here. Now, with this kayak not having a motor, I got to use a physical anchor. And so I got it behind us, and so the wind is now blowing into my back instead of my face, which, you know, wind always feels colder when it's blowing in your face. So hopefully it'll warm up pretty quick here though. That sun out today. Looks like it's going to be a bluebird sky kind of day. Had a full moon last night. Don't know how that's going to affect things. I don't typically do well on the full moon, but I don't see it in the sky right now, so hopefully the moon has set. And that's typically, I don't know what it is about the full moon. I don't do well catfishing on the full moon, but once the moon sets, it seems like the bite gets better. I don't know why it is, but that's always been my experience. And, you know, if here's the two scenarios, right? So maybe the full moon, those fish were up feeding shallow all night long. Moon sets, sunrise, they come back out of this creek Well, here's our baits sitting here waiting on them. They got an easy meal on the way out. Here's maybe the other scenario. Full moon, cold night, those fish were out here. Sun comes up, they're going to work up to feed. Well, guess what? Again, here's our bait sitting here waiting on them. So we're just trying to intercept some fish. I seeing something down there right now as we speak, so our bait's in the right place. They just kind of off the bottom right there in their face. Skipjack chunks, been getting my better quality fish lately for whatever reason. Head bait's still my confidence bait, always will be, but the chunk's been getting it done, and well, I aim to please, so I'm gonna give them whatever they want. But yeah, I thought I'd come back down here just because the bite's been so much better here on Chickamauga than what it has been for me fishing at home. Everybody that come down and pre-fished for the tournament had big fish. Tournament day was, the scores were honestly kind of lackluster. I thought it would probably take 130 inches or more to win it. Because our tournaments go by length. It was our 3 longest catfish. Now, I knew it would take 3 fish over 40 inches to win, and Ryan had 122 inches, but I thought it would be more 130 inch range to win. But 122 won it. I had 118 inches. There were only, I think, 4 fish total over 40 inches caught, which, I mean, that was a big surprise. The pre-fishing leading up, I mean, everybody was getting 40-inch fish. But, I mean, it's just, you know, it's how it goes. Those fish got hit hard the week leading up to it, and then we had a little bit of a weather change, too. We had a front blow through the day before, and it had dropped the temperature about 15 degrees. And my dumb ass, I thought it had moved out. Like the weather report wasn't calling for any rain. Like it was supposed to be gone. And I get out there, I'm not on the water maybe 30 minutes. And it starts pouring down rain. And I didn't have rain suit. I didn't have umbrella. All I had was a hoodie. And so I put it on. And of course, it didn't take long for the cotton to get drenched. So I sat out there cold and wet all day long. Finally, the sun popped out there later in the afternoon, and there's more fish splashed behind us over here. But the sun popped out later in the afternoon and finally warmed up a little and dried me out. But it was a cold, miserable morning there on tournament day. But ultimately, grinded it out, got the fish I needed, cashed a check, got $750, second place. Not a bad payday just to go fishing. Ryan ended up getting, it was around 3,000 total he got, because he got first place and big fish. So he got, I think it was 2,000 something for first place, and then 900 and something for big fish prize. So he had a nice payday. It was a good time. We had 17 people. I'm pretty sure the other 16 was all dragging. To my knowledge, I was the only person who was doing a technique other than that. And all my fish came while anchored. I did try dragging middle of the day. I went into a creek that fed into the middle of this river band. That was kind of my plan B spot. And I wasted some time doing it and just I just couldn't get bit back there. It's weird how some of these creeks are producing fish. Like this one here, for instance. And you can't really see here on camera, but it goes back, and it gets real shallow back there. So it's like a gradual shallow, if you will. But some of these creeks, man, like, you know, they'll be stacked with fish. You go to the next one, there's nothing there. So I know Ryan had said he had got some nice fish in this creek last week pre-fishing. So I was like, well, this one's a good area to come back and try out and see if we can get a flathead here. I hope we do, man. I want one bad. Ryan and I, we fished together last week in this area here by the power plant behind me. We had come out here together. We were going to try to tag team this area, and he was going to take one side of the channel and I was going to take the other, and we were going to drag and pull baits up through there, see what we would get into. And he went up the other side over there, didn't have any issues. I started up this side, and man, I didn't move very far at all and found myself in a trot line. Had to cut off. I was so mad. And I was like, you know what? I ain't doing this crap today. So I went up river from here. There's an old dam or some kind of structure that goes across the middle of it there. And I said, you know, I'm going to drop some baits on that and put some time into it and see what goes on. And I caught fish there too. I didn't get any good quality there, really. Well, I got one pretty good fish. But I got several fish up there. And so we know there's fish in this area from me and Ryan fishing together that day, him getting up here in this creek and catching some fish. Like, we know there's some here. We're just gonna put in some time and see if we can get them this morning. They need to bite for about noon though. I got an hour and 20 minutes home, and I got a new computer. There we go. Go, folks. Fish number one. I think something hit our other rod over there just then too. Open up fish. How far are we into this video? About 20 minutes or so. Didn't take too long. I'd like to tell you that we got some current flow pushing our scent downstream, but they barely moving any water, so. What did he eat? He hit the, I can't tell if he's eat the fly or the cut bait. He just knocked the cut bait off. I see it sinking right there, by gosh. You old fish, what'd you do that for? He's got the fly in the bottom of the chin now. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if he had the other bait or what. Either way, stinger fly got us our first fish here. So he'd have been gone otherwise. You could at least left the bait on, fish. Uncalled for. You're rude, fish. He didn't care. His mama down there, she never makes him go pick his own hickory switch. That's the problem with that fish. And that's the problem in society today, folks. These kids, none of them's ever had to go pick a hickory switch like me and you had to. They just do whatever the heck they want, whenever the heck they want, no consequences. And then they act like that, throwing baits off. Perfectly good baits. He's probably down there eating on it right now too. Cut us another piece here and drop it down. Well, fish number one though, skunk's out. Not the quality we're looking for. Not the flathead we're looking for, but it's a start. I'm pretty sure my head bait got tapped too when I was reeling him in. But yeah, I'm hoping to fish till about noon today, I guess, and I gotta go home and get a package. I got a new computer coming, and I've never had any problems with porch pirates or anything. I live along, my house is a long ways from the road. You can't really see if anybody's home or anything sitting on a porch from the road. And I do have security cameras up at my house. But you got a brand new computer coming. You don't want to leave it sitting out there, you know what I mean? So I don't know what time UPS is coming. They never come first thing in the morning, so hopefully it won't be sitting out there too long when I get back today. The other thing too is after tournament day and just the driving I've done to get down here, pre-fishing there last week and running all over creation for the Catfish Sumo open house night there, Friday night and everything. My butt's a little tired. So I don't want to be in a kayak too many hours today. In my younger days, I could pull a 12-hour day in this kayak seat and get up tomorrow and not even know what I had done the day before. Wouldn't have affected me one nary bit. But nowadays, if I pull a long day like our tournament was 8 hours. And of course, I'd got on the water there early to be able to make a run to my spot. So them long days take a toll on you a little more when you get a little older, folks. That's part of life, though. At least the Civil War guy over here beside us is finally, I guess he got his practice in first thing in the morning. And what's going on here? Maybe I'm just imagining it. Maybe it's just the waves rocking us. I thought we had a... Maybe it's just the waves moving us. I was getting a little excited there for a second. I see that rod tip kind of wavering a bit. Yeah, old Civil War guy over here, he's quit blasting. Maybe we can get some peace and quiet now. I saw that Civil War movie recently with the Kirsten Dunst girl, and reviews on it were really good. And I'm a sucker for that type of thing. You give me a good conspiracy theory, alien story, Civil War type story, you got me on the hook. Just reel me in. That's all you gotta do. Just reel me in. And this movie lost me, I don't know how early on it was very early. I won't spoil the movie for any of you that haven't seen it yet, but the basic plot, the storyline is America is in Civil War in modern day times. And Kirsten Dunst is a news reporter, and they decide to travel. I think they started in New York, and they were going to go to Washington, D.C., the front lines of this war, to interview the president. That was what their plan was. And so the movie kind of follows their journey through this war zone that is modern day America. And there was a scene very early in the movie. So it's Kirsten Dunst. I don't know why I keep wanting to call her Kristen, but Kirsten Dunst, some guy that I never could figure out if that was her boyfriend or coworker or what, an old guy, and then this young girl that wants to be Kirsten Dunst gets her way onto the trip too and tags along. And so we're following them through war-torn America. And at one point in time, early on in the movie, they stop off for gas. And there's these guys there, militia-looking type, that's got these weapons guarding the gas pumps, basically. And they work a deal to get some gas. And the young girl, she walks off from their vehicle by herself and goes down to this old car wash where there's two guys being held up hostage there who've been tortured. They've clearly been beaten and tortured and all. And this young guy comes up behind her there, and he's heavily armed as well. And he's talking about them guys caught stealing or whatever and what they're doing to them and yada, yada, yada. And I ain't trying to be, listen, I ain't trying to be too graphic on this channel or nothing. I know we got women and children watching. Because something got hit. That one got thumped. Let's watch it goes down. That one, I think. Oh, man. Y'all should have grabbed that rod. We was sitting there watching it go down. You should have grabbed that rod sooner. He hit it and took it down, and he let it go. It didn't act like too terribly big a fish, but still, you should have grabbed it sooner. I don't know what I bring you out here for if you ain't gonna help me reel in a fish. I blame y'all for that. It wasn't me that missed that fish, it was you. I can't get you to do nothing around here. But anyway, this young hot girl who is unarmed walks off by her lonesome. You get this guy coming up behind her who is heavily armed in a now lawless society, who has two guys tied up in this car wash that he has beaten and tortured. And the scene ends with Kirsten Dunst and this girl just taking a picture for their news story with this armed guy in front of his hostages there. And then they walk off and go get, he's back. Down there chewing up our baits. You better tell him, leave him alone unless he wants to commit. But the scene ends with them just walking off, going back to their vehicle. So they lost me right away. I'm like, this is so unrealistic. Because we all know, and again, I ain't trying to be graphic on this channel, but you got lawless society. You got a young man, heavily armed, who's obviously not the most moral person, with the fact he's got two guys that he's beaten and tortured down there. And you're telling me that girl ain't getting bent over? Come on. Now listen, I know they probably don't want to show that on a movie there, and I get that, but the fact they don't even allude to it, like I mean, it would be, you know, if he was maybe trying to do that, and then maybe Kirsten Dunst comes up and hits him over the head with a flower pot or something and rescues the girl, and they go running off and get out of there. That's believable. That's realistic. But the fact he didn't even try? Come on. So they lost me right there. Listen, in my sci-fi, I need some realism, okay? And like I said, you give me a good conspiracy theory, alien story, America turning on each other, civil war, like, you got me on the hook. Just reel me in. Just reel me in. But when you have a scene like that in the first few minutes of the movie, like, I'm checked out. Like, this is stupid. Like, this makes no damn sense. This ain't how it would really go down in real life. So, anyway, I sat through the rest of the movie. I never really understood the storyline of it. We never really found out what caused. And I ain't trying to give away too many details or anything. But there was a normal movie. The movie opens, you follow the characters. There's some problem going on. The main character solved the problem, and everything gets wrapped up in a little bow at the end. Story ends. This movie, you never figured out what caused the war. You just, there were so many things left at pertinent, what I felt were pertinent details you never got. Like, the war itself was apparently America, the United States government, against the Western forces, which was comprised of Texas and California, which, again, totally unrealistic. I mean, come on. Of all the states, boy, something splashed right here behind us, man. Right there behind us, man. They're coming up. These fish are taunting us, y'all. But like, all the states possible. As this rod gets hit again. Maybe he's hooked this time. I'm gonna grab this rod. Y'all held me up from grabbing that rod in time. We missed another in there because of you. I'm gonna quit bringing you out here if you keep missing all these fish. I think that was another small fish that'll mess with it. But like, Texas and California, really? Like, that's the two states that aligned in a civil war to join forces, really? You couldn't get two more polar opposite states. Like, totally unrealistic. And again, I know this is like science fiction type movie and all, this scenario, but make it a little realistic. I mean, come on. But they got 30 bucks out of me. So, mission accomplished. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff, y'all, man. If I'm on a road trip, I'm going to listen to some podcasts. I've been into that Sean Ryan podcast lately. Him and, Joe Rogan always has great guests on and good conversations and stuff. But Sean Ryan typically goes a little bit more into the weeds on conspiracy stuff. And I probably shouldn't listen to that stuff. Probably not. Probably rots the brain, but I do. Yeah, that movie, it was a letdown. Maybe my expectations were too high going into it. I should have known better, but all the reviews were good. But I just don't fit in with the people doing the reviews, I guess. And there's another thing, too, and I know y'all don't give a crap about this. We're out here to talk fishing and stuff. But, like, if you're going to have a movie, somebody's got to be the good guy. You need a good guy, and you need a bad guy. Good and evil. There has to be something. This movie, I mean, it was following these journalists. None of them were likable. Like, who was the good guy? I never could figure it out. Same thing with the Civil War. I'm like, what side are we supposed to be pulling for? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Never could figure it out because we didn't know what they were fighting over. Just too many details left out. It's like baking a cake. A lot of ingredients go into. Don't ask me how to bake a cake personally. I've never baked one. I don't know how. Probably be a block of concrete when it come out the stove if you ask me to bake a cake. But I know there's a lot of ingredients go into making a cake. But if you leave one or two out, you don't have a cake. And that's the same way with the movie. You can have a real nice storyline, but if you leave out a couple details, the story, it don't make any sense, or it ain't any good. So, yeah, y'all, there we go. There's your Civil War movie review. Old Kirsten Dunst. She's still making it in Hollywood, I guess. She's making it in Hollywood better than what I'm making it reeling in fish. What are we? 1 for 3 on the bites? We may get another shot at it here. That one's acted like he's hooked up on the fly. He's acting like he's got himself foul hooked there, is what he's acting like. I hope it's the same one that's been hitting the bait, so maybe we can put a hurting on him here and he'll leave it alone. Danged old fish chewing up our baits like this. We need them down there in good condition, especially this body section, since it's the only one we got down, and that's what I've been doing the best on lately. I'd like it in good shape when a flathead swims along. Oh, Lord almighty, that's a channel cat, folks. He's on the fly. Well, if we're seeing these things, we're in trouble today, folks. Some of y'all like these channel cats. You defend them every time I badmouth them. But I can't stand these things. I know, channel cat, I'm talking about you. I can't stand you. The only time I want to catch a channel cat is if I'm fishing a tournament up in Sandusky Bay. That's it. He's clamped down on my thumb here too. I need to try to get that dang hook out, and he won't open up for nothing. I'm gonna end up bending my hook trying to get this thing out. Open up. Oh, this turd. Let me get the pliers on you, fish. Y'all's fish here. Y'all's favorite fish, the channel cat, that y'all defend every opportunity. He's being a real turd right now. Fly got us another fish. So that's technically 2 on the fly now, ain't it? Because the first one, we don't know if he had the hook and the cut bait initially or not, but he ended up getting that fly under the chin. And now this one, he's got the fly in the mouth, which I can't get out because he don't want to open his mouth. Boy, this fish is making it hard on me, folks. We done have that hook out if you just open up. There we go. Or so I thought. Oh, it went in the side of the mouth and then through the bottom lip. Maybe he couldn't open his mouth. You could open it now, fish, and you still clamp down. Get out of here. Fish, let's take a look at our bait. It's been hit a few times. They've eat the gut pocket out of it. We're just gonna go ahead and switch it out. Here, I'm gonna throw that one down there. We'll feed the hungry children. Maybe they'll work on that bait and leave our other one alone. We'll cut another skipjack here and send it down. I got plenty. I went out there yesterday and I was trolling. I don't know how many I ended up with, but I got at least 2 days worth of bait. Skipjack have been pretty easy to get as of late. They're all making their spawning run. I think most of the ones I caught yesterday were post spawn. They're kind of seem to be a little bit skinnier than they were a couple weeks ago, but either way, they are plentiful right now. And I like it when bait is easy. I like it. Saves me a ton of time. Look what else that channel cat's done. He's got our sinker wrapped up around our line every which way. Boy, look at this. That dang channel cat's tied us in knots. I kid you not, he's tied that damn thing in a knot. If y'all was a fishing partner worth a damn, you'd have had this undone while I was cutting the bait. We need to be working as a team, people. Oh, our head bait's going down. Our head bait's going down. Good golly, let's pick up on it. Oh, and it just, oh man. We're snake bit out here this morning, y'all. We are snake bit. I'm gonna blame it on the small fish. Need to get this bait back down there. I don't know what has happened here. He's back on that head bait again. You think he's got it this time? I think he may have it this time. Let's reel in this one now. I may just cut that other one. I may cut it and just retie that damn channel. You believe he tied that thing in a knot? Here I thought channel cats were the dumbest creatures on the face of the earth. They can tie a better fishing knot than I can. That's why I'd never make it on that TV show Survivor. I've wanted to play it my whole life. I've watched every episode of every season for 20 plus years that it's been on TV. But every challenge, they have to untie some kind of knot. And as we've evidenced over here, I would fail at that task. Yeah, here's a... I want you to look at this. Here's another one that has eaten the fly. He's knocked our head bait off, and he has eaten the fly. Boy, that's interesting, folks. That's 3 now. Once is an accident, twice is a pattern, third time. This is interesting. Maybe our chunk over here, when we drop that chunk down, I think what I'm gonna do is cut the gut pocket out. We'll make it a smaller profile bait. Because if they're wanting something smaller this morning, you know, again, we had this cold spell. I mean, it's cold out here this morning. I'm gonna long arm you fish. I ain't put up the front camera mount yet. He's a larger dink right there. Nice, man. We don't have any baits in the water right now though, so let's remedy that. We'll stick this other head. Thankfully, I just got this other head cut, so. Damn channel cat though, man. Tied that thing in a knot. I don't know how he managed to do it. That TV show Survivor though, I've talked about sending in an application to be a contestant on it for years, and I've never done it. I don't know why. I just always procrastinate, then I never do. And then, you know, you see some of these contestants, they'll show little snippets of their audition videos and whatnot, and I see some of those and I'm like, man, I can't compete with those people. Like, what would I even do on video for the audition? And nowadays, the show, the people they've got on the show nowadays, they're the last 2 or 3 seasons actually. I still watch it, but I'm not as into it as I used to be. It's just the people they're putting on there now, there's nobody relatable anymore. Used to, you'd always find somebody on the show that you either liked or you kind of related to a little bit. And now they're just trying to find, I feel like they're just trying to find the oddest people they can possibly get to put on the show, and none of them are likable. So I wouldn't fit in. And even if I did, as evidenced right here, I'd never be able to get the damn knots untied to have a chance at winning a challenge. I don't know how he done it. Okay, I think we're making progress on it here. If we don't get it on this one, I'm gonna just cut this mess, retie. I'm cutting it. Dadgummit. This is out of control here, folks. Damn channel cat has set us back. We'd have done caught 4 more fish probably. At least 4 more if it wasn't for that channel cat. Add that to the list of reasons why I hate channel cats, y'all. Mark that down in case I forget. Someday when I write a memoir, I'm gonna have a top 5, top 10 reasons why I hate channel cats. And tying my damn sinker and swivel in a knot is definitely going to make the list. Alright, I think we're back in business here. My hands are a little cold, y'all. They ain't wanting to work right. The water temperature's warm. It's saying 68 on there. And it feels warm on the hands. But when you bring them out of the water, it's cold. I'm going to just cut this gut pocket out, man. If they're wanting a smaller profile bait, if they're eating the flies, let's just cut the gut pocket out. we'll chum the water with that, but we'll open up that spinal cord there, which has all that extra blood around it. And we'll see. We'll see if that don't help our cause. It will or it won't. Oh Lord, now, okay, there we go. Had my line wrapped around my rod again. We're in bad shape today, y'all. I feel like every time I do one of these unedited videos, it just ends up being a daggone cluster. But as long as we catch fish in the end, that's all that matters. That's the goal. Catch us some fish, have us a little fun. Go home today, get my new computer so I can edit these videos, upload these videos. I got a new computer. My old computer has gotten so slow, and it ain't really that the computer's gotten slow, it's that my files are getting bigger. Because doing these unedited videos, especially if you save them in 4K, it creates a huge file size. And it takes forever for my computer to process that file. And so I got a new one coming. It's going to have a lot more memory and a lot bigger hard drive. So hopefully that's going to help my calls. It'll be easier to do the videos on the computer, but what ain't never easier is getting the fish to put on the videos to begin with. That's the problem, man. That's what's the biggest challenge is. But I still think, I mean, I just, we're seeing fish on the screen, we're catching some fish. They're going to be working up and down this channel, and they're going to be going in and out of this creek. And we are right in front of the old creek, where the old original creek come out here before they made the reservoir. What we need is some current. That would really help our calls. Now, on tournament day, I was so far upriver, there was a little bit of flow. Not much. I mean, when I first got on the water, the wind was blowing opposite of the current, and I was spun around. It wasn't able to offset the wind. But after the rain moved through, the wind kind of died down, and what little wind we had was, it switched. It was kind of blowing downriver. And so that, with the current, I was kind of able to cast my baits out and get a little scent dispersion, but they just ain't been running much flow lately. We haven't had much rain, and they've been working on raising the water level up at all of our reservoirs around here. I think we're probably, I don't know, probably within 2 feet of being at full pool here now. So hopefully when everything gets back up to normal pool, we'll get some flow again. And current always helps your calls. Oh, got another one here. Another one here on the head. There it goes. There it goes. Okay, come on, fish. I'll reel you in. I think it's a blue. I feel him rolling. I want a flathead, y'all. That's what I want. Beggars can't be choosers. I'll sit here and catch these blues all morning long, but I really want to get us a flathead. I thought up there on that river bend I fished for the tournament, I thought I got a flathead. I fished that spot in the tournament last year, and I did better there this year than I did last year. I had a higher score, caught more fish, but I got a flathead there last year. But I didn't get one this year, neither on tournament day or my practice day. All right, another blue. Okay, he's ate the cut bait there. He's got the cut bait hook. This is another one that's probably larger dink, smaller fun size. If he'll calm his butt down and act like somebody, I may set up a front camera mount here. Not that he really deserves it, but I would like to get it out of my way of where my feet is. And it's got something all over it down here. I don't know if this right here, is that mud or did that channel cat poop all over my floor and my camera mount? I don't know. If I had to get, based on the fact that dang channel cat tied our sinker and line in a knot, I'm gonna guess that he probably pooped all over the floor too. I could be wrong though. That could be mud. I could be making a false accusation. I did have to walk out in the water a little ways to launch the kayak this morning, so that could have been me bringing mud in. We'll drop that bait back down here in just a second. Let's set our front camera mount up. He don't really deserve it, I don't think. But we'll make his day. Make his mama's dreams come true. Seeing her baby boy on video that she apparently ain't gonna see, because we got the sun directly behind us. But either way there, yeah, larger dink probably size. Not getting the quality yet today, folks. But what is that now? 4 fish? 5 fish? And what's the time? Well, we're under an hour still, so we're getting some numbers here. We just gotta see if we can up some quality. You gotta figure this many fish working through here, it's a matter of time before some better quality fish work in. I hope they do anyway, and I hope one of them is yellow and brown and's got a flat head. That's what I want. Get this mess undone. Boy, he's wrapped me up here too. All these fish trying to slow us down today. They're trying to slow down progress. It ain't gonna work. Buddy, I'm coming down here motivated. There we go. He's tore up the... Boy, he's tore up my hook too. Look at this. Well, that's a first. I've never had that happen before on a mustad hook. That thing's been out, y'all. That's a mustad demon circle hook. I'm glad I noticed that. Boy, I mean, that must be a defective hook, because that fish wasn't very big. My gosh, boy, we're in bad shape today, y'all. Bad shape. We gotta get it together here. We keep getting... When you ain't got but 2 lines in the water, you gotta work a little bit more efficiently, you know what I mean? And we're not working very efficiently right now. I got me a bag of leaders here. They all get wrapped up together too. Bear with me a second here. It's a compact way of storing leaders, but it's not the most efficient way as far as retying quickly, but it does really save on space. There we go. Stick them in a Ziploc bag, and they fit right here in my pedal drive, and I keep all my tackle and everything for this kayak in this pedal drive slot. Like, I don't carry a bunch of extra unnecessary stuff. If I don't have a chance of using it in a day, it don't come with me. Now, I know some guys, they'll carry 87 pounds of lead. I'm like, I ain't carrying all that extra weight. You know what I mean? Like, I got maybe 3 extra sinkers in there, because when I'm suspending baits like we're doing today, I rarely break off. I mean, most of the time, if I'm drifting, I'll occasionally get snagged because I'll come up on something and not adjust my baits in time. But when we're anchored, setting still, dropping baits down, I rarely get snagged. So I don't need that much lead. Same thing with my dragon sinkers. You know, I rarely lose a dragging rig, so I've got like 3 dragon sinkers in here. That's all I carry. All right, we got ourselves back in business here. Take a look at this head. It's all, let's just cut a new one. Hell, we're retying, redoing everything. Let's just cut another head. Might as well just switch everything, y'all. If we're gonna do it right. Eventually, maybe, hopefully, we'll catch a break this morning, reel in a fish that don't cause some damage, and hopefully get a better quality one too. I feel like with the misfortune we've had today, from my wet boot, getting out here a little later than I wanted, channel cat issues, bending a hook out, retying a rig, I feel like we're due. Okay, let's see if this hook will treat us better. Somebody tag Mustad and tell them I'm disappointed. Their hooks, I've been using them now a few years. That's the first one that's let me down. And it happened on an unedited video, so the whole world saw it happen. At least the 5 of you still left watching anyway. Alright, stick her. That in there still had some eggs in it. That one was pre-spawned. Clean my cutting board off. In case my mama watches this, she'll be seeing me with a dirty, stained up cutting board and buying me another one. Cutting board's nasty, you need to replace it. That's what she'll be saying. And then she'll go buy me one. Oh man, y'all. Well, you know what? We're getting some bites. There's been a lot of days that I have fished in my life where I didn't get bites, so I can't believe that. Look at that hook, man. He bent that thing out. I had that happen. I take that back. I have had that happen before. Not on this model of hook, but when I went shark fishing down there in the Florida Keys last winter, I had a shark straighten out a hook on me. Which is amazing that they're straightening it out without breaking. You would think most of the time if you tried to purposely bend that hook out like that, it would snap somewhere on the shank there, you'd think, before it bent. But that one clearly did not. Back in the game though, folks. We back in the game. Got both lines down. We could, I mean, I got my other rods with me. I wanted to come out here first thing this morning, set up at sunrise, suspend baits, and I thought probably, because you know, again, my plan was we'll film me doing this 3-4 hours. And then I may stay and fish another hour or so beyond that before I head back home. But I may run up in this creek and drag it back out, you know, before I go. So I have my dragging, a couple of the rods for dragging here with me. We could cast a bait out on bottom, but the wind's kind of blowing out of this creek, and we don't really have current to keep our lines taut. So I fear that the other rod might get in the way. We could put it in a back rod holder though, one of the molded in rod holders. You want to do that? Do y'all have any interest in that? Throwing out one off the back, maybe? I mean, as long as the wind keeps blowing us this direction, we could set it here in this rod holder, cast it that direction, kind of down along the bottom edge. It should probably settle down near the bottom edge of that ledge. And because I mean, that was on pre-fishing and on tournament day, that was kind of my ticket to success, was having baits cast out. It just, you know me, y'all know me, I like to, now I've got that dadgummit, there we go. I like to suspend. And tournament day, you got to do what you got to do, because you're out there competing, and you got to try to catch the biggest fish possible in the time frame that you're allotted. So you got to do what you got to do. But on a normal day fishing, most of the time, I'm going to be willing to sacrifice some number of bites just to be able to do what I want to do. Because I mean, you know, let's say we were out here today dragging with planer boards or something. Maybe we've done caught 10 fish by now instead of what we've got. But if I'm not enjoying catching those fish as much as what I'm enjoying seeing the rods go down with these suspended baits, well, is it even worth doing? You know what I mean? I don't know. I play that game in my mind a lot, but for me, I want to force my will on these fish, I guess, to get them to bite doing what I want them to do. I want my dragon sinkers here up under my seat. I just throw them up under the seat. We'll clip it on, and we'll just cast this out, see what happens. My dragging rig here, it's on a 3-way. We got a float and a rattle down to another mustad hook that I lost a little confidence in here after that last debacle. I'm gonna clip my dragon sinker on. I make these, so there's a link down in the video description. You want to learn how. And we'll just stand up here and we'll give this a cast over here. All right. Throw it in the rod holder behind us. Y'all hear it or see it going down, holler at me. I mean, I'm still seeing though. I'll show you here in a second. This thing eventually hits bottom. There it goes. I hope that don't get in our way. I hope it don't. As the wind swings us around and stuff, I hope that line don't interfere with that rod. If it does, we'll put it up. But I mean, look at my screen here. Best you can around the pedal drive anyway. I mean, there's still some fish right there on bottom, and that looks like there's probably some bait there up about 30 foot, and then there's all kinds of marks right there near our baits on bottom. So I mean, there's some fish here. We'll see what happens with that. Starting to get a little cold now though, y'all. That wind, I've cooled off from my pedal over here. We may need to take off pedaling again just to warm me up. I brought my other kayak down for the tournament. It's got the motor and the gadgets, you know, live scope, all the bells and whistles. So I was using a launch site for the tournament that actually you could back down into the water. It's unfortunate, you know, with these kayaks. When back in the day, when I first got into kayak fishing, you didn't even really have fishing kayaks, quote unquote. It was a fishing kayak. When I started, meant you had a normal kayak that had some molded in rod holders. Like, that was a fishing kayak. Now, over the course of time, the kayak industry, fishing kayak industry, has exploded. Now we got a ton of different models, and we went from paddles to pedals to now motors. Now companies are making kayaks specifically to add motors on. Companies like Old Town, you know, they have the autopilot that has the motor, basically had the motor and the kayak kind of built around it. And so I feel like technology in the kayak industry advanced to a point to get us where you can have all these fancy gadgets. I mean, there's specialized mounts now. I mean, like my live scope that I mounted there on my Hobie. Like, I didn't have to really DIY that. I mean, there was a kayak mount for the live scope transducer. Like, all that stuff is available for purchase now. But somewhere along the lines, we got off course of what kayak fishing really was, which is a way to access. Used to, the kayaks were so lightweight because there was nothing on them back. You didn't have motors and batteries and graphs, and you know, you didn't have to have kayaks that were so heavy duty that, because now you have to have, if you're going to put a motor and all this extra weight in the kayak, like, you got to have a heavy duty kayak to be able to support it. That adds to the weight. Back in the day, you didn't have that, so you could take a kayak and you could launch it pretty much anywhere. You see a opening there on the side of the road, well, you just take your kayak off your car or drag it down there to the shoreline, hop in and go. Nowadays, like my other kayaks, the Hobie, I think it's like 138 pounds, 140 pounds without anything in it. Now throw in 2 batteries, motor, live scope, my bait cooler. I mean, hell, you're over 200 pounds. You ain't dragging that thing nowhere without getting a hernia or a back injury. But it's like the kayak industry, they kept advancing technology-wise, making all these new features on the kayaks and the ability to add all of this stuff, but there's been no innovation whatsoever in the materials that is making the kayaks. Like, it's still the same type of plastic today. It's thicker, you know, especially your better quality brands. It's thicker plastic. There's more of it, but it's still the same type of plastic being used today in 2024 as what you had back in 2000, I think it was 2008 when I got my first kayak. Same type of plastic. No technology, no advancements whatsoever has been made in all these years. And that's unfortunate, you know, because it's like, what if we got away from plastic? And I ain't talking about just from like a conservation, or, you know, there's all these people save the planet trying to get rid of our drinking straws. They want us to use these damn paper straws that dissolve before you can finish your drink at a restaurant. Yeah, I ain't talking about it from that aspect. I'm talking about like getting away from plastic kayaks from a standpoint of maybe there is a lighter weight material, maybe there's a more durable material, maybe there's something else we could be using that would be better for us, the fishermen, as far as transport and all of that, and durability and all that. But there's been no advancements made whatsoever. Now, there was back in the day, and I wanted one of these for a long time, and I wish I had got one back then, and I didn't. But the first good quality, my first kayak was a just cheap. It was a field and stream eagle claw, eagle talon. As this rod gets hit, let's see if he's got it. Yep, he does. He does. And he don't. Y'all let him get off again. It's one of them fish right there, man. They're all, there's a bunch of them down there on the bottom, buddy. Y'all gotta do a better job getting them fish stay hooked up now. We're trying to do a fishing trip here, man. But my first kayak was a cheap one from Dick's Sporting Goods. I got it on sale. Field and Stream, eagle claw, eagle talon, something like that. Now our head bait over here is getting messed with. Probably that same fish. Oh, where'd he go? Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? He had a nice takedown and didn't. Oh, we're snake bitten, y'all. We are snake bitten. I thought for sure the way he had that bait going down that he was hooked, but maybe he just had the bait. We've missed a whole lot more than we've hooked up on though today, that's for dang sure. And I don't know what the reason is, but it's a fact. Okay, look right here, our back rod. Now one's after it. Oh, he's got it, buddy, he's got it. Let's see if this one, oh boy, this one's gonna pull some drag now. This one's gonna pull some drag here. This is the one we cast out, sitting on bottom. He stripped a little line there before I could get it out the rod holder. As much as I want to force my will on these fish and make them eat a suspended bait, pre-fishing and tournament day, they wanted them baits cast out on bottom. Now my bait is up off bottom because of the float, but they're still cast out. It's just a little bit different look, a different presentation. Let's see if we can get up here and keep him out of this. I'll stand up here, y'all. Try to keep him away from my suspended lines. Yeah, that's a fun sizer right there. That's the biggest one of the morning thus far. On the chunk. I'm pretty sure we left the gut pocket in on that chunk too. Pretty sure. Alright. Let's see if we can work him around this rod here. Keep him out of that other line over there, why don't you? Don't you let him get in that line last second here now. Don't you let him do it. Oh Lord. There he goes again. He ain't done. He ain't done, y'all. He's ornery, man. He's fun size. Easily the biggest one of the morning. They ain't even close. I'll give him a little front camera time when he calms down. We won't be able to see him with the way the sun's positioned and all, but he won't know that until he gets back down there to his flip phone and looks up and sees the picture. It'll be too late for him to do anything about it then. He'll just have to leave me a bad review on Google. Yeah, well, we'll cast another one out here when we get this one landed. I mean, folks, the numbers today so far have been there. The numbers today have been good thus far. It's just we're struggling to get quality to this point, but the morning is young. Come here, fish. Oh, put that hook in me now. Whenever you're ready. Oh, Lord. Boy, that'll wake you up. Getting splashed in the face, y'all. I hope he didn't get you like he got me. There we go. There we go. All right, let's set y'all up here in the mount again, as I got water literally dripping off my face, y'all. That thing, oh man, that fish, I could have done without that. That water's gonna be cold on my face when that wind hits it. Yeah, fun size length, skinny as all get out. Strong enough to pull a little line though, there when we first got the rod out the rod holder. You was pretty fun there, fish. You had my heart rate up a bit. I thought we might have had a whopper on for a minute there, and he's mad now. He's like, he'll show me he's still got some energy in him. There he goes too. All right, man. Again, we're on some fish here. There are fish here. We're not getting the quality yet, but they could be better quality fish could be working through at any given time. Would we be doing better if us sitting up on top of the drop? Maybe. Would we be doing better if we were back in the shallows right now? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You can only fish one place at a time. And I wanted to come out here and just try this out and see, and that's what we're gonna do, for better or worse. That's what we're gonna do, y'all. We'll put y'all back in the chest. Get our cutting board here. I still don't know if that's mud or doo-doo right there. I can't do nothing about it. Could be sitting here looking at doo-doo all day. At least it don't stink to high heaven. I'm pretty sure I had left the gut pocket intact on that last chunk. I'm pretty sure I had. The one that's on our suspended line, we had cut out because them other fish kept eating the fly, but I'm pretty sure when I cast this one out, it was fully intact. We're gonna do this one fully intact either way. All right. Run that through. Seems like the wind has shifted a little bit. It was kind of coming out of this creek. We were facing this way. Now we're facing more downriver. I'm going to try to cast this in such a way that it don't interfere with that other line over there. There we go. Down it goes, y'all. Now maybe I'll tell my kayak story that I was trying to tell, because I'm hoping for some innovation at some point out of one of these damn companies to solve a need that me, and there's probably a lot of other people that need it too, but they don't know they need it because they ain't never had the option of it. Okay, got that set back up. So anyway, first kayak I bought, I'd went on what caused me to get a kayak to begin with is I had been on a trip to Las Vegas, and I'd gone on a kayak tour, like not a fishing trip, but like a sightseeing tour. They'll come pick you up at your hotel there in Las Vegas, and then you go down below Hoover Dam, and they take you down to Colorado River, and you sightsee and all that stuff. Are we moving right now? We're moving. We're moving, y'all. Crap. Let's reel this one in. We gotta, I think that fish pulled us off anchor, and we've come out to a little deeper water, and now my anchor, I had my anchor line tight because if you leave a lot of slack in it, when the wind blows you around, your suspended lines will get caught in your anchor rope. But the downside of doing that is if you get pulled out into a little bit deeper water, well, you end up moving. And that's what we've done here. You're carrying your anchor instead of your anchor holding you. I'm gonna back us up. I was like, man, I feel like we're like the shoreline's moving over there. Just gonna back us up here a little bit. Problem I'm having right now is my dang rod butt is in the way of seeing my map card right there. Spin us around here. I got my anchor pulled up just enough to kind of be off bottom as we move along here, and I'll drop it back down. But I like, when I'm suspending like this, keep that anchor rope tight. You leave a lot of play in it, and the wind blows you around, or maybe you catch a fish on one rod and he spins the kayak around. Having a bunch of loose rope, you're going to get your other line wrapped up in it. So I try to keep it tight as possible. Now, if you got current, then you can let out a little bit more distance because you can kind of get away from it. You're not going to get spun around like that. But out here today, we're fishing slack water. It's just going to be, we'll be spinning around all over. I think we need to go up a little bit more. Well, we moved quite a bit, y'all. We must have been moving the whole time. That fish must have pulled us off in that initial, when he was stripping line right there. Okay, I need to move to the right because we're starting to come up. I want to be at the bottom edge of this ledge is what I want. Bear with me, folks. We're getting reset here. But I tell you, man, between the channel cat, the hook bending out, a little fun-sized blue pulling us off anchor, we're having a damn blooper reel kind of day. Okay, I think we're about good right here. I'm gonna move this over just a little bit to the left. I want to be right on the edge, right before it starts to come up real sharp. That's where I want to be. So I'm watching my map card and I'm watching the depth start to kind of change. There we go. Okay. I am going to leave us a little bit more slack this time. That way if we do get pulled out, hopefully it won't be so far that we go drifting again. We can't be having no more malfunctions today, y'all. Y'all gonna quit coming with me if we keep having these malfunctions. So I tell you every damn time I do an unedited video, I feel like it's just one cluster after another. Yeah, see how I'm right here kind of on the edge, and it comes up real sharp right here and goes back in this creek. Look, here's the part of the creek channel where it comes out right here. That's 16 feet. Right here's 24 feet. It would have come out right there, and we're on the bottom edge right here on, and there was some fish right there. That right there looks like some bait here, 15 feet deep or so. But we want to get fish that are working up and down through here on the channel edge, following that contour, or fish coming in and out of the creek. That's what we want. So anyway, we'll let the wind spin us. Boy, I'm dark on that screen. We'll let the wind just spin us back around here, get us settled in, and then I'll cast this other line out over here downstream of us again. I may need to, I'll just check these baits here. I'm not gonna reel them up, I just want to check, make sure where we need to be here off the bottom. And hopefully we'll be. Oh man, I think I got my, I think when we did all that, I think I've got this. God almighty. It's that kind of day, folks. It's that kind of day. When we were moving back up here, I managed to get this line in my anchor rope. Folks, all you can do is laugh at it. All you can do is just, all you can do, man. Let me pull us up again. Somewhere in this mess of rope is our hook. I hope this stuff happens to y'all. I hope it ain't just me. Y'all see why now I prefer spot walking over using a regular anchor. And it, oh my, are you serious? It come free after all that? I think I got my rope. Y'all, we're having a day, buddy. I think when I did what I did, I got my rope all tangled up. We're gonna have to reset again in a minute. I hope this stuff happens to you. I don't know why everything's going wrong for us today. Yeah, right there's what I done. I tied that damn. Just pull the whole thing up a second. This is my fancy kayak anchor here for slack water fishing. Dumbbell. That's about all you need. A day like today where you ain't got no flow. Clearly we need a better person to put the damn rope down though, or the anchor down, that ain't going to get it all knotted up and get lines in it and every damn thing else. There's just a good knot. We'll hopefully fix our problem there with that. Okay folks, will you bear with me while we try it again to get over here? Now the wind's done got us moved again. I mean, I hope this crap happens to you. I hope it does. And now we're smeared. Has that been there the whole time? That's probably where that fish splashed us. Right there. Y'all had water all over your face and you didn't even tell me about it. We got everything going wrong today, but we're going to get rewarded at some point out here, y'all. At some point, we are going to get us the fish that we deserve today after going through all this. I'm going to run us back up here for the third time and see if I can get us set. All you can do is laugh at it, folks. That's all you can do. You either gotta laugh or you gotta cry. I ain't gonna cry on this camera. Man, oh man, what a day. I guarantee we'd done caught 2 flatheads by now if we could keep ourselves where we need to be. see if we can go back off here this ledge, and then hopefully maybe we're going to be ready to catch a fish again. Okay. There we go. All right, let's try it again. Let's spook some fish down there by pounding this anchor on bottom again. Okay. I never will get through my damn kayak story. At the rate we're going. The universe don't want me telling it, I don't reckon. Here I am just trying to get us some kayak innovation. That's all I'm trying to do. Trying to bring awareness to a problem most people don't know exists. And the universe don't want me telling a story. I've put that damn anchor down again. I should have reeled in my other lines before I dropped it down. Watch me get that damn... Watch me get both them damn lines in that anchor rope again, by God. Wouldn't that be some crap? Boy, I'd be so mad. This is unedited video. I'd probably have to edit out a cuss word though. Boy, I did, sure as the world. At least this one I can get right here though. There we go. Goodness gracious, Lord Almighty. You think we're gonna get through this day, y'all? I'm about afraid to drive home at the pace we're on. I'm about afraid of it. You know, I was only half worried about my computer sitting there on the porch after UPS delivers it today, but now after all this, I'm like, well, hell, today will be the day for sure I get some porch pirate showing up. I think we're reset here, y'all. I'm gonna drop this bait down, we'll cast out the other one, and 35 minutes later we'll be fishing again. Lord Almighty. It ain't pretty, folks, but I do catch a fish from time to time. Okay, cast that out. And I think we're back in the game. We probably spooked all them fish down there under us when that anchor hit again. That's all right. They'll come back. And then maybe eventually I'm gonna get through this damn story. That's what I get for trying to tell a long-winded story. Gonna have 10 interruptions. All right. Got our 2 suspended lines down. We got this line cast out. I don't remember where I was at. Anyway, bottom line is this, folks. I started out, I was telling about there in Las Vegas. I went to Las Vegas, and first time I was ever in a kayak was below Hoover Dam. They did them kayak sightseeing tours, and I was out there and I enjoyed it, man. It was a lot of fun, and I was like, I'm gonna get me a kayak when I go back home and put me some rod holders on it, and I'm gonna catch fish in that thing, because I had a boat at the time. I was catfishing out of a boat. I had a Sea Arc aluminum bass boat. It was a McBass 160. I don't even know if they still make them or not, but it was just a 16-foot bass tracker, like aluminum boat there. Had a 40-horse motor on it, and I had rod holders set up on it. So that's what I was catfishing out of back in the day. Now I get home and I go to Dick's Sporting Goods and get me a cheap kayak. It was a fishing kayak, quote unquote, because it had rod holders, the molded in ones on the back. And I took that thing out there, and it was a piece of junk. I didn't know it at the time because I didn't know anything about kayaks. But it was $400, Dick's Sporting Goods, and it looked cool. And so I took it out there and I jimmy rigged some rod holders on it. And next thing you know, I'm out there catching catfish out of a kayak. And it was fun. Now, the kayak was awful. It was incredibly unstable. And the plastic was real thin, and it was really uncomfortable. I mean, it was, you'd sit in that thing for an hour, because you were basically sitting on a pad on the floor. And like, you would just be, my butt would be hurting within 30 minutes to an hour. And 2 hours, like, I'd be ready to go. But I was having so much fun when I would hook a fish. And so I decided to get me a better quality kayak. I wasn't having fun in that kayak, but I was having fun catching catfish from a kayak. So I wanted a better, I just wanted a more comfortable kayak is what I really wanted. So at that point in time, there were really only, like, you had Hobie, had the pedals. You had the Hobie Outback, I think, at the time. But even then, those models, you were still basically sitting on a pad on the floor of the kayak. And then you had the Native Ultimate. And the Native Ultimate, people were taking the seat and building these PVC seat bases to make a seat riser and set yourself up a little higher. And the way the floor sit, you had like it had like 2 tunnel hole, and then it come up, so your feet was setting lower. And I was like, I'm gonna get me one of them. And so I did. And I found a used one. We got we had a fish hitting our back rod there. Can't hook up. So I got me a used Native Ultimate. It's a 2007 model. And built me that PVC seat base, and man, what a world of difference. It was so much more comfortable. Just setting up higher. The kayak itself was much better quality. It was more it was only 30 inches wide, but I mean, it was much more stable than what I had with the Field and Stream kayak. And I just had a much better experience fishing out of that. So that's what really started me kayak catfishing. Then once I was comfortable, that was the game changer, if you will, for me. And so, you know, before I know it, the boat, I was barely using the boat anymore. I was just taking the dang kayak out all the time. So I was having so much fun with it. And so anyway, that was a Native Ultimate, and I had the plastic version, the same plastic that this kayak here is made out of, that all the others are made out of. And it was a fairly lightweight kayak. And I think it weighed, I think without the seat, I think it was like 70 pounds, something like that. It was definitely manageable. But at the time, Native had another model, and it was still the same hull design, the Native Ultimate, but it was called the Ultimate Tegris. And it was made out of a lighter weight material. I'm wanting to say it was Kevlar, but I could be telling you a lie. But regardless, it was a lighter weight material. It wasn't plastic. And this kayak weighed like 30 pounds. So it was less than half the weight of the plastic version. Now, unfortunately, those Ultimate Tegris models were, I think they were $2,400 at the time. Now, nowadays, 2024, you see a kayak for $2,400, you don't bat an eye. But back in those days, that was a lot of money, because the Native Ultimate, if you bought a new one, I got mine used for $700, but the new ones back then were like, I think $1,000, $1,200, something like that. So this Ultimate Tegris model was double the price, but it was half the weight. And I wanted one so bad, but I never could justify the price. And so Native quit making those. There just wasn't enough of a demand for them, apparently, and so they quit making them, and they continued to make the plastic kayaks. All these other companies start popping up. Everybody's making you know, over the course of time, the fishing kayak industry just exploded. And so now we have all these great features on kayaks. The pedal drives here, amazing. The kayaks, the design of them are set up in such a way for us to easily rig rod holders and fish finders and camera mounts, and we've got plenty of storage. And I mean, it's amazing what they have done from a design standpoint. But these companies have all completely abandoned the thought of using any other material except plastic. Native was the only one that really said, hey, let's try something different here with their, I think it was Kevlar, but I could be wrong. But it cut the weight in half. Now, and I may be telling a lie on that a little bit too, because there was another company I saw, I think it was called Apex. It was the guy who initially started Jackson. I think he quit or got fired from Jackson or something, started a new company. I think it was called Apex. And he was making these fancy paddle kayaks out of some kind of fiberglass material, I think. And they were lightweight. And I'd watched a video on it, but they were like custom made, and he was wanting like 10 grand a piece for them, or some ridiculous amount of price. Like, it was never gonna, I don't know who advised him on that business project, but I'm like, that's never getting off the ground. So that was, I guess, one person who was at least trying to innovate a little bit on the material standpoint. And then Hobie came out with the Hobie Lynx last year or the year before, which isn't, it's kind of it's classified a kayak, I guess, but it's more of like a paddle board that you can pedal. Because it really is, it's like a paddle board type shape, and it's made out of some kind of, it's made out of a plastic, but I think it's like foam with plastic around it. And so it's lighter weight, although not very durable. I think the thing with the Native Ultimate Tegris was, not only was it lightweight, but it was also pretty durable as far as like pulling it up on the shore and rocks and things like that. Because that's what you need. You need a material that's super lightweight and has the durability to withstand some rocky shorelines or a concrete boat ramp or something like that. But I feel like these companies need to invest a little R&D into materials other than plastic. There has to be something out there better than plastic, at least from a weight and durability standpoint. There has to be. And I'm not opposed. At the time, back in the day, I didn't buy that Native Ultimate Tegris because of the price. That was the determining factor of why I didn't get that kayak. Because honestly, I just didn't have the money back then. You know, it wasn't that I didn't want it. I didn't have the resources to do it. Nowadays, and I don't think I'm alone in this, I would pay more for something if it suited my needs better. Like, I'll pay up for quality, and it's just not available. There's just nothing. If you want a kayak today, you're getting a roto-molded plastic kayak, no matter what brand you get. Now, if you get a good quality brand like an Old Town or a Hobie, you're going to get a heavier kayak because they're using more plastic, using thicker plastic. So you're going to deal with more weight. You go with a company like a New Canoe, for instance, you're going to get a lighter weight plastic. It's still, their kayaks, I think, still around 75, 80 pounds without the seat or anything on them. But you're not getting as much plastic, so the floors flex, and you're not going to have the durability that you're going to get out of a Old Town or a Hobie, for instance. But that's it, though. But that's our only options. You either get a good quality kayak with thick plastic, or you get a lesser quality kayak with thinner plastic. But that's it. That's your options. And I just feel like in 2024, there has to be another way. And I don't know why more people aren't clamoring for it. You know, and I guess because once you add on, the entire kayak fishing industry has gone toward motors, and I'm not opposed to that. Okay, I like my motor, especially in a tournament. You know, if we were out here today, for instance, and we were spot locked, we wouldn't have had to. I wouldn't have got pulled off anchor. I wouldn't have had my line over here wrapped up in the anchor rope. You know, that don't happen when you're spot locked. Now, I'd be freezing my hind end off because the spot lock would have us facing into the wind, and I'd be cold right now. But we wouldn't have had those issues. So I like having the option of having these things. But everything has a trade-off. And if you go the motor route, well, there's your 40 pounds on the front of your kayak. Now you got to have a battery to power it with. So even if you go lithium, 25, 30 pounds minimum for your battery there. You've added a lot of weight. So you need a kayak with good enough quality to support that. You're going to have a little bit heavier kayak. And what you end up with is a situation where you roll up to a launch site, and now you've got, you know, back in the day, like I said, you had a kayak, a milk crate with some PVC on it for your rod holders, and your fishing gear. That was it. You could launch it the side of the road, down a steep mud bank, anywhere you had access, you could launch. Nowadays, you roll up, you got 200 pounds you got to deal with. And so you pretty much need a damn boat ramp, just like a boat. And I hope the day comes where we get kayaks made with hopefully a new or different type of material that would significantly cut the weight without losing durability or quality. And I hope we get to a point where these companies, you take like a Motor Guide or Minn Kota or Garmin, or hell, I think Power Pole even makes a trolling motor now. Get a motor company to make us a kayak motor that's lightweight. You know, like the Motor Guide that's on my Hobie now. It's a Motor Guide XI3. It's their kayak version. You know what makes it the kayak version versus the regular boat version? The kayak version has a 36-inch shaft. That's the only difference in the motors. That's it. Like, there's nothing different about it. It's the same 35, 40 pounds, however the hell much it weighs. It's like I would like to see these motor companies put a little thought and innovation into the motors as well to try to cut weight on them. Now, there's companies like Torqeedo and now Newport Vessels that has made lighter weight kayak motors. But I can't speak to the Newport Vessels. That I had a Torqeedo. I tried it. It was garbage. I had 4 warranty claims in 2 years. I mean, I couldn't keep the damn thing running. It was great when it worked. I mean, it was lightweight. It was fast. I just couldn't keep the damn thing running. The quality was just garbage. I would like to see a more reputable brand like a Minn Kota or Motor Guide or Garmin. Not that any of those are putting out good quality goods these days, as evidenced by the problems I've had with them too. But they're at least companies that have got the R&D budget to put some effort into making something better quality at a lighter weight. But if we could cut down the weight of kayaks and the weight of the accessories that are going on the kayaks, because the lithium batteries have made a huge difference. Going from lead acid to lithium, and even now the lithium batteries, they're even lighter now than what they were just a few years ago. Like, the weight on them keeps coming down. Like if we could do that, if we could get our kayaks and our motors and accessories and everything, get it back down to a manageable weight, boy, that opens up everything again, man. That opens up your ability to just drop off the side of the road and put in anywhere you want without sacrificing your gadgets. Like the launch I used over here, man, I can't. It's got the remnants of a boat ramp. Like you can see they had run concrete down to the water, but the concrete's all busted up. It's like chunk rock now. So if I tried backing off that, Ryan tried it when we fished down here last week together, and he dropped his dang kayak off the trailer when his wheels went off. He just flopped the damn kayak right off. Like, I'd probably get my trailer stuck on that, truth be told, because of the drop. So, like, it's just, and the Hobie, I'm not going to deal with that weight if I can't back it in and launch it in the water like a boat. So if I want to come down here and I want to fish using this launch site to allow me easy access to where we're at today, then I'm going to bring the pedal kayak. Now, again, I like my pedal. This is my favorite kayak that I've ever fished out of. But it is a more simple setup. I'm not going to put a motor on this kayak. I just don't. I could, and people have. I've seen people do it, but I don't want to, because I have no place for the stuff. I have no place for the battery. I just don't. I'm not going to do that on this kayak. But it's fun, man. Catching fish in this kayak's way more fun than catching them in my Hobie. Way more fun. Because this kayak, it's just, the takedowns are more intense. This kayak being lighter weight, you get pulled around a little bit more. I mean, it's so much more fun. And if it wasn't for me doing YouTube and for me doing the tournaments, I would probably give up the motor and the live scope and all that stuff. I use those things mainly because I want every tool available at my disposal to try to have as much success as possible for not only video purposes, but especially if I'm in a tournament, I'm competing. I want everything. I don't want to be handicapped against guys who have all of those things. But just from a personal enjoyment standpoint, if I was just going out and fishing for me, just to go out and have a good time, well, this right here is what I'd be doing. I'd just be out here suspending a couple baits off this kayak, and the days I get bit, great. And if I don't, well, I'm still enjoying my time on the water. But anyway, we finally got our story out. But I hope over time that companies will kind of maybe attempt at least to put some thought into innovating the materials kayaks are made out of. I mean, it's 2024. That Ultimate Tigris, I mean, we're talking, I don't know when they started making those. I don't even know when they stopped making them. Oh, we got our back rod getting hit here. But I know they quit making them kayaks well over 10 years ago. I think this fish is on. I think he's on and he's come at us. No, he ain't either. He teased me, folks. I thought he was swimming right at us. We're going to cast that bait out because it's been, we're going to replace it. That's what we're going to do. They've hit it and chewed it up down there, and we're going to replace that. They can have that piece. They want it that bad, they can have the daggone thing. I'll tell you what we'll do too. We'll just go ahead and replace all these baits while we're at it. Here's another advantage though of fishing with 2 rods versus like these guys in the tournament. Some of them running 8 and 10 rods. When you're only fishing with 2, you sure don't use as much bait. That's what I spend big chunk of my fishing time doing is just catching bait for us. I can't get y'all come fishing with me all the time. I can't ever get you to show up with bait. At least right now, the bait fishings don't take as long with them biting as good as they are on their spawning run. Just taking these pliers and cutting these fins off. Do you have to do that? No. That's just one of the things I've got in the habit of doing, because I'm just always fearful it's going to cost us a fish at some point. Cast this back out, and I'm going to reel in our suspended baits. We'll just refresh everything while we're at it. I'm hoping we get some more fish work through here soon. I'm assuming when I drop that anchor down twice in a row there, we probably spooked them fish that were down there under us. Hopefully they'll come back as they work up and down through here and go in and out of this creek. As much of a problem as that anchor caused us, I'm telling you folks, today with the wind like it is, I am much more, I won't say I'm comfortable out here because I'm cold, but I would be miserably cold if this wind was blowing into my face if we were on spot lock. Yeah, this bait here actually still looks pretty good, but I've already cut that other one, so we'll just go ahead and put this on. Doo-doos and giggles. I'll put a bunch of fresh blood down there anyway. We may not have very much current flow to disperse it, but just the bait dropping down through the water, that's gonna put off some scent just doing that, so it'll help our cause. And I think this time on the other bait, having the smaller chunk on here without the gut pocket ain't really done nothing for us, so I'm just gonna leave the gut pocket intact on this other one and drop it down. We'll throw this bait down there too. Feed the hungry children. I ain't gonna throw them head baits down just yet, since those are kind of what I consider big fish baits. If a big fish wants a head bait, he can eat the one with a hook in it today. Get this sent back down. We'll be all spruced up and reset. Hopefully no more malfunctions today. Hopefully we're going to get our flathead here at some point soon. Clean your cutting board, y'all. I need to clean this kayak, so I need to. The pollen has been out of control lately. Everything's bloomed out. And boy, my kayak up there looks yellow from all the dang pollen on it. I need to wash it, but you do it and it's covered up before the dang thing's even dry. You got more pollen all over it. I've been getting a lot of stuff done around the house though, outside. I've got my raised bed garden, everything in it's planted now. I got four banana pepper plants. I got 6 bell peppers. I got 3 tomato plants. I've planted I planted some cucumbers from seed. They've started to sprout. They popped up. And I planted some sugar snap peas, and they have started to sprout up. Those I planted from seed. The tomatoes and peppers were bought, so they were already a little bit established. Now I got another bed made, just like a small area, to plant some sunflowers, because I didn't have them. I didn't have room. I didn't have a good spot for them in my main raised bed garden. Back when I was running a normal garden, I always used to plant sunflowers. I always liked sunflowers, but when I did the raised bed, I didn't really have a good area. So I was like, I got all this extra dirt, and I had extra compost because I'd bought way too much. And so I made another little bed just for the sunflowers. And my mom had picked me up a poblano pepper plant, because I used to have those in the garden too, back when I had a normal garden. And that was one of those things that I had decided to sacrifice, because I think I talked about this in one of these videos. When I was running a normal garden, it was way too big of an area, and I always planted way too much. And when I made my raised bed, I decided to sacrifice some things, like watermelon, for instance. Watermelon's one of those plants that takes up a ton of real estate, and I like watermelon, but I like about 1 or 2 a year. So why take up all that space for something that I can go, oh, fish. Oh boy, he's pulling too. He's pulling. Oh, are you kidding me? Why can't we get a fish to hook up and stay hooked up today, y'all? I'm beginning to get a little bit frustrated. I'm trying to be positive and optimistic, but I'm beginning to get a little frustrated. We've had everything go wrong out here today. I mean, everything. This fish just ripped us off. Some days it's just like that, folks. I mean, it is for me anyway. I hope it is for you. I hate to think I'm alone in this. I can't believe that, man. We just cannot. I was so optimistic coming out here today, but I'm starting to lose a little hope that anything's going to go right. I'm gonna quit being negative, y'all. Positive minds bring positive things. I'm just struggling at the moment. The hookup percentage today, though, has been piss poor. And it don't matter if it's been on the suspending rig, the rig we're casting out here, like, it don't matter. We can't get a fish on. The only thing I've hooked with 100% consistency is my damn anchor rope. We ain't got no problems hooking anchor ropes around here. We can do that without fail. I hope that wind ain't blowing too bad on the camera. My back's blocking it, but it's really picked up. I didn't think the wind was going to be up today. Thought we were going to have a fairly calm morning out here. But all we can do is what we're doing. Just put the time in. We know there's some fish here, you know, cold morning, temperature drop and all, but our baits are getting enough attention that fish are feeding. They are active. We're not getting the quality. We're not getting the hookups that we want, but they're willing to eat a bait. But the garden store, I just made a decision when I went to the raised bed this year that I was going to eliminate the number of crops, one, to just try to get it down to what I actually eat without having to either compost stuff or just give it all away. And I was going to give up things like watermelon that takes up a lot of real estate for something that I only want one or two of. And there were other plants like that. Watermelon was like that. Not going to do okra, not doing any corn. Squash and zucchini is another thing. I eat a lot of squash and zucchini, but they're cheap to buy and they take up so much space. So I was like, I'm gonna sacrifice that. And poblano peppers was another one. I typically put out a couple poblano pepper plants, but you know, we'll make some like stuffed pepper things with like poblano peppers and some cheeses and onions and things, and they're really good. But again, that's another one of those things that I like about once or twice a year. It's so hard to justify taking up garden real estate there in a raised bed for something that I don't need much of. But my mom had got this poblano pepper plant. She had saw it, and in the years past when I would do poblano peppers in my garden, I always had a hard time finding them. I usually had to go to the flea market and find some Mexican over there selling plants and stuff, because they would have them, but you couldn't ever find them at like a Walmart or Home Depot or Lowe's or something. You know, you had to go to somebody like a private seller that was growing them from seed. But anyway, my mom found, I think maybe a Rural King, maybe she found it. And so she got one, and so I was like, well, I'd already planted my other stuff. What am I going to do with this? And so when I made that bed for the sunflowers, I was like, I'm just going to stick that poblano pepper in it. And so it's there. I've showed off my garden. I don't think I have for regular viewers, but my channel members, they've seen all that stuff. I've been doing some videos from around the house there, show them the stuff. I got my shed worked on recently. Had kind of a bad experience with that, but it's holding up well the last couple of rains we've had, so I guess everything was all right in the end. But I got me a lean-to. I got my shed roof replaced, fixed some water damage I had, and then I got a lean-to built on the side of it here this spring, so I can park my lawnmower cart and wheelbar and ladders, and we got one on the head back here. Will this one stay hooked up? He's gonna pull now. Will he stay hooked up? I'll believe it when I get my hands on him. I'm not even getting my hopes up anymore, y'all. These fish have beat me into submission today. I don't know how we've had so much stuff. Honestly, I don't know how we've had so much stuff go wrong. Things happen. Things happen every trip. But today, I mean, it's been one thing after another. You know, and it was kind of my last unedited video. Kind of like that, I guess, because I'd gotten some snags while I was dragging. But that ultimately led to me figuring out I needed to be anchored. And so I ended up catching some big fish. And then tournament day, I got drenched out there because I was unprepared for the rain. Boy, what has this one done? He's knocked her head off. He's knocked her head off. He's eat the fly and knocked her head off. Another one on the fly, y'all. Another one on the fly here. He's got the cut bait hook in the under the neck here. But he has got that fly in the mouth, I believe. Yep. Boy, ain't that something, man. That's another one on the dang fly. Yeah, he's got that cut bait hook there behind the gill plate. He ain't gonna open his mouth or nothing. I'm gonna have to bring this in like this. Any day now, fish, you're gonna knock yourself out on that pedal drive now. Well, he unhooked himself. How about that? Well, we got one hook out. You're doing a good job here, fish. You helping me out more than these people here fishing with me. I ain't got them to unhook a fish yet. Pliers out. Yeah, folks, the flight has caught us another one. These are Catfish Sumo bait stalker flies there. And boy, they've caught me a lot of extra fish the last couple of years. Get on out of here, you old thing, you old ornery devil. I guess we're gonna cut another skipjack head, since he threw that one off. Good thing I had plenty of bait, huh? Alright, let's cut us another head here, folks. Yeah, them Catfish Sumo bait stalker flies, man, they just, I don't know why it is. Like, there's times I'll go several trips without catching a fish on the fly. And then there's days like today where it's like they're keyed in on it. And I don't know, is it the color? Do they see it down there? Because the water's kind of clear today. Are they able to see that fly? Is it just that they're wanting a smaller profile bait? You know, I don't know. I don't know why it is. But I've had a lot of days where it's like most of the fish you catch will be on the dang fly. So I don't know. I'm just going to keep using them. That's the only thing I can't explain why they work, but they work. So there's that. There's that rig, new head. My friend Dewey, I need to reach out to Dewey too. It's been a while since I talked to him. He had some health problems and he ain't been able to, I used to see him on the water all the time, but he's had some health problems and he can't fish like he used to, and I need to holler at him. I'm a terrible person as far as keeping in touch with people on the telephone and messages and stuff like that. I'm a bad friend when it comes to that stuff. But I need to reach out to him. But he had put me on them flies, I guess about 3 years ago now. And he tied them flies that he was using. He'd give me some, and I took them out and tried them. I didn't have much confidence in them, but I took them out and tried them because I didn't have much confidence in the flies, but I had confidence in him because he's forgot more about fishing than I'll ever know. And I took them out and I had success with them, and then Daniel there, the owner of Catfish Sumo, started making some, and I started playing around with different colors and stuff. The ones Dewey tied me were white. I think they had like a red head on them. And Daniel had made several different color patterns, and for whatever reason, that goldfish color there, the orange and yellow, just, you know, maybe it's just blind luck, you know, who knows. But when I would have different colors on, that goldfish pattern, man, it just outproduced. I got more fish, I got better fish, and I've caught a couple nice flatheads on them flies. I got a really big blue back in February on a fly, and again, there's just been days where you just catch your fish on the dang fly. I had a day, I think it was a few months after I'd started using the flies. I think it was 2 or 3 months after I'd started using them. I was down on Nickajack, and the video's on my channel of this. And I think I caught 5 or 6 fish, and they were all on the fly. Like I couldn't buy fish on the cut bait, but they were eating them flies, man. And so that's really then when I became a believer. I'm like, okay, we're rolling with these flies from now on, especially on the suspending rigs. Now, when I'm casting baits out, there's no, if they're just sitting on bottom, they're not really doing anything for me. But situation like today where, oh, we got a fish. I'm like, why am I getting spun around here? We got a fish on this line, that's why. But like, if you're just casting baits out on bottom, that fly's not going to do anything for you. But when you're suspending baits, that fly's up, and as your kayak moves, it's moving down there. And it looks like a small bait fish that's just down there under your cut bait. And so it's an easy meal if a fish comes along to get it. Now, there's been times I've caught fish on them flies at 100 feet deep, and you know damn well there's no light penetration down there at 100 feet. So how a catfish knows it's down there, I don't know. But they do, and they eat them. So I guess they're maybe more in tune with their environment than what maybe I would, in my mind, think they could be with the lack of light at those depths. But they work. And this year I've been playing with them on the dragging rigs a little bit. I don't have any on this one tied on, but I had added them to the dragging rigs in hopes that I would maybe pick off some flatheads with them. But I haven't caught a fish on a fly on a dragging rig yet. I mean, I've caught blues on them, but I haven't caught a flathead. Come here, blue kitty. Again, y'all, we're getting bit here today. The quality's just not been here. The fish, you've got a... This fish right here is nasty, y'all. I want you to look down his mouth. Look down in there. You see that leech on the roof of his mouth there? That's you nasty fish. You nasty old thing. You need to brush your teeth. You probably got the gingivitis too. I wasn't gonna smell his breath. I bet it stunk. Damn leech in his mouth. These fish, his mama told him to brush his teeth. He don't do it. He's gonna go in there to the dentist for a cavity, and they're gonna see that leech in his mouth and probably send him back home. That wind is really picking up, y'all. I may end up pulling up one of these suspended lines out of necessity, because our kayak is bouncing right now more than what I want. Suspending baits is one of those things that it's a technique better done in calmer water. You don't want to be rocking, because when your baits are vertical under you, when you bounce, they bounce. And I don't get nearly as much action in rough water. So we may, if this wind don't die down a little bit, we may end up reeling in one of these suspended lines and casting out another bottom rig here. We'd throw it off the other side over here, I guess. I don't want to do that. I'd rather catch them suspended. I didn't think the wind was going to be up today like this. I've learned not to think at all, though. Just like tournament day, I get out there and thinking we're going to have a nice day, and it pours down rain. I mean, I got drenched, y'all. I was soaked through my hoodie, through my shirt. Like I was just completely drenched. And then the wind was, you know, it wasn't really a cold day on tournament day, but when you're soaking wet, the least little bit of wind hitting you just makes you cooler, you know. And I was cold. I was so far away from the car, and I didn't have any extra clothes in the car or anything. I was so far away. I was like, man, I just got to deal with it. That's all you can do. Just smile and bend over and take some more, you know. That's it. At least today, though, again, I know the anchors cause us problems, but if this wind that's blowing now was coming into my face as cold as it is, I'd have probably done said hell with it and started my hour and 20-minute drive back to the house. Or we'd have found somewhere to try to hide from the wind. I don't like being cold. That's my biggest struggle with wintertime fishing, is I hate being cold. We keep getting teased a little here with spring. Like, we had some 80-degree days last week. And then here we are this morning, 38, 40 degrees. Well, I guess they call this a winter of some kind. We got all these damn winters in spring. Blackberry winter, locust winter, dogwood winter. I don't understand them. We're supposed to be in spring, damn it. It's supposed to be warm. Hell, there's a lot of years we go from winter to summer. We don't even get a spring, you know. We just go from being cold to about 90 damn degrees. This year we just having these false starts, I guess. But yeah, I got that dang computer coming. Oh, will he stay hooked up? Another one on the head, or the fly potentially, we'll see. He better, if he's on the fly, he better leave that head on. And well, it don't matter, he ain't gonna stay on no way. He ain't staying on. He didn't want to come up here like all the others. Oh, y'all, I'm telling you, man, we're just bad luck today. Bad luck. Y'all need your lucky rabbit's foot on the next trip. I expect you to bring it. It can't be me having all this bad luck. I'm glad, though, it's happening today and not on tournament day. I at least got the fish I needed there to cash a check in that. $750, not a bad payday. One more good fish would have got me the win. I'm trying to think. I think my biggest fish was like 41¼ inches, I think. I had like 41 something, a 39 something, and I can't remember what my smallest fish on my final score was. 37 something maybe. But if I'd had one more, if I'd got me one really good fish, 42 to 45 inch range, that would have won it for me. But that was the case with a lot of people, you know. The third place through fifth or sixth they were all within a couple inches of each other there. Just for whatever reason, tournament day, you know, everybody got them big fish there pre-fishing, and then tournament day, and was that because they had already stuck them there pre-fishing, or was it because the weather changed? Yeah, no way of knowing. I left my fish alone. I had pre-fished on the previous Monday, the area that I fished on tournament day, Saturday. So I waited too. I waited to post that video until after the tournament was over, because I knew if I posted it beforehand and people saw the fish I was catching, anybody that was local and recognized the area, they'd be out there pounding that spot. And I didn't want those fish. I wasn't going to go back and stick them again, and I didn't want anybody else doing it either, so I waited to post that video, because it would have sucked if I had posted that video beforehand and then show up out there at the tournament and somebody be sitting on that spot. I'd been livid, because there wasn't my backup plan. I launched, made about a 30-minute run to that riverbend, and my backup plan was going to be to fish the creek that fed into the riverbend, which I did there for about an hour or so there on tournament day. And the backup plan didn't work at all, because I didn't do any good there in the creek. So if my main plan had have gotten ruined from the start, like, it would have been too time consuming to run 30 minutes back downriver, pack up, move to a different launch site. Like, it would have wrecked my day. So I didn't want to post that video in advance. You know, Ryan and I fished that day on Monday. Ryan and I fished in this area here on last Tuesday, and those were the only 2 days that I was going to be able to come down and pre-fish for the tournament. So once Ryan and I fished, and I knew I wasn't going to fish this area here for the tournament, I was like, I'm definitely not posting that video until afterwards. Just too big a risk. That all worked out in the end. And like I was saying earlier, there's multiple patterns going on at the same time. So if there's a style of fishing that you like doing, you know, try it. Just because you may hear reports of somebody else catching fish in a certain part of the lake or river, doing a certain technique, go do what you want to do, because you don't know, there could be something, you could have a better bite potentially going on. You know, Ryan got his fish backwater creek, 10 foot and less. I'm out there on the main channel, 30-35 feet deep, catching them. Some of the other guys, I think most everybody was fishing shallow, but it's like that too. I mean, if you take bass fishing for instance, that's the most popular form of fishing tournaments, right? It's bass tournaments. And you read the reports, or you watch the Bassmaster tournament show, whatever they do. You look at the top guys, top 5, top 10. Most of them are doing different things. Somebody's going to catch fish on a chatterbait. Somebody's throwing a jig. You know, somebody's going to be throwing a swim bait. They're going to be different areas of the lake or river. And they're all going to catch fish. It's just, you know, who's going to get the bites that they need in the time frame that they have for the tournament. Like, that's what it comes down to. And so I try to, when I'm getting ready for a tournament, I'm trying to pay more attention to the details. Like, for a normal fishing trip for me, like us coming out here today, for instance, I knew I wanted to come out here and hit this creek mouth, and I wanted to suspend fish today. And I was going to do it hell or high water. And by gosh, I'm proving that with all the hell we've went through this morning. But this is what I was going to do today. And, you know, tournaments, you got to make it happen. You got to be able to catch fish. You need the biggest fish you can, and you got to do it within those hours. So you need to have everything kind of buttoned up. And so when I'm getting ready for a tournament, I'm going to try different things, different techniques, different places, and I'm looking for anything I can to give me a clue on what's going to give me the best quality fish. And I'm looking for details of things, and one detail I feel like I missed, and I think this may have bit me a little bit in the tournament. So when I was pre-fishing, my plan initially that day was to drag the river bend. I was going to just start at the bottom and troll my way all the way around the outside of the bend. And what ended up happening was, and my regular viewers, you saw that video, you saw exactly what happened. There was so much debris on the bottom there, just sunken trees and everything that had settled there on the river bend. I kept getting snagged. I was snagged nonstop. And I'd finally just give up at one point. I said, I'm going to suspend a couple and sit here. And I'd sat there and I hadn't done any good, and I was getting ready to start moving. I thought, oh, I'm just going to try dragging again. I'd thrown my dragging bait out, and I was starting to move. So my bait was just sitting on bottom, and that thing got smoked while it was sitting there. And I was like, oh, okay. So let's just sit here again and let's cast some baits out this time. And I started catching fish. And I sat there and I caught a few, and then I trolled a little more until I got snagged. And I sat there and I cast baits out to that snag, and I caught some more with baits sitting there. So when I come out on tournament day, I knew that was my play, to fish that river bend, anchored or spot locked, whatever, and have my baits cast out. But when I started out on tournament day, I wasn't using the same rigs. And this is where I think I made a mistake. So on pre-fishing day, I had my dragging rigs tied on, and when I started casting baits out, I cast them out just like we're doing here with this rod. It's dragging set up, it's out there. It's technically on bottom, although the float is raising our bait up a little bit. Well, when I show up on tournament day, I know I'm going to be anchor fishing, so I tie on my anchor fishing rigs, which is just a basic Carolina rig, no float, short leader. I cast them out. Now, I caught some fish throughout the tournament day on that rig, but I wasn't getting the quality that I need. I was getting quantity, I wasn't getting quality. Well, we get there about noon or so, and I'd kind of made a decision I was going to anchor in the morning and see how it went. And if I wasn't getting either any fish, or if I wasn't getting the quality of fish I wanted, then about lunchtime, I was going to tie on some dragging rigs, and I was going to run in that creek and try it out that fed into the riverbed there. And so I did that. And of course, didn't do any good there in the creek. But when I come back out to the main channel and started anchor fishing again, I had them dragging rigs still tied on, and I didn't want to take the time to take them off and put on Carolina rigs again. It's like, I'm just going to cast these out there. Well, lo and behold, I get my biggest fish of the day on that rig, and then I got another one on that rig. And what I realized was my dragging rigs with the float was getting more action than my other two rods I had out that were on bottom. And that was one of those details that, you know, a normal day of fishing outside of a tournament, it don't matter, because I had already had a good day up to that point. I mean, I'd caught several fish, I'd gotten some good quality fish. I mean, for the number of fish I caught and the quality of fish I caught, like, I would have, if it wasn't a tournament, and if I hadn't been getting beat at the time, like, I would have been happy with that. It was a way better day than what we've had out here thus far this morning. So, normal circumstances, it wouldn't matter what rig I was getting thrown out there, because I was getting bit regardless. But that one little change, that one detail of having the float on one rig and not on the other, led to two better quality fish, which upgraded my score and put me in the money. Those two fish moved me from 6th place at the time when I submitted them up to 2nd place and cashed me a check. Now, if I'd been running that rig all day long, would I have gotten any better quality fish throughout the day? I don't know, and there's no way of knowing. But I should have paid attention to that detail, because that's the rig I was running on my pre-fishing day where I had all that success. And I didn't lock into that detail, and that's a mistake I made. And that's where, those are the little things that can mean the difference in either getting bit and not getting bit, or getting good quality fish versus lesser quality fish. And again, they honestly, it doesn't matter on a normal day unless you're just some kind of perfectionist. But when you're in a situation where there's cash or ego or whatever on the line, and like you got to get bit, those are the kind of things you got to pay attention to. And I messed up. I figured it out on pre-fishing day, but I left out that detail on tournament day, and maybe it cost me. Thankfully though, when I come back out from fishing that creek, I still had them tied on and was able to get the 2 fish I needed to move me up. It broke Chris Minahan's heart, y'all. Chris Minahan wants to beat me in a tournament so bad. I'm his Super Bowl. Like, when I show up to these tournaments, if I cash, you know, great. But like, I guess because of my YouTube channel and the following and whatnot, like, some of these guys really want to beat me. As Civil War guys back over here practicing again. I guess he had to go to the store and get some more ammo. But like, some of these guys in the tournament, like, they really want to beat me. And poor Chris Minahan, man, he's never beat me. And he wanted to so bad. And we were getting there late in the tournament. Something hit my back line. Pick up on this thing here. We were there late in the tournament, and I think he was in like 3rd or 4th at the time. I was down there in 6th, and then when I submitted them fish, I leapfrogged him. It just broke his little heart. You should have seen him when I got back to the launch there at the check-in. It was great. That's how it goes, though, man. You gotta just toy with these poor fellas. You gotta just, I talk a lot of trash anyway, you know. Gotta fix my anchor rope thing here. But I mean, I talk a fair amount. I'm somebody, you really don't want me beating you, because you're never going to hear the end of it. Ryan's the same way. Like, Ryan, he talks a lot of smack too. Him and I will give each other hell all the time. We'll be texting each other mid-tournament just to rub it in each other's faces if one of us has got a fish and the other ain't or something. But old Chris Minahan, man, he just knew it was his day. He was finally going to win his Super Bowl and beat me. I mean, some of these guys, they wouldn't care if they finished next to last place if I was in last place. They just want to beat me. Now, I don't know why it means so much to them. It ain't like I'm anything special. I mean, you've seen me. Look how many goof ups I've had out here today. I mean, this is me, you know. I ain't nothing special. Only thing I can catch is my damn anchor rope most of the time. But I have fun with it. Some days it's like that. Some days it all comes together. Some days you go in the water and you get peace and quiet. Some days they practicing for Civil War over here. I'm telling you though, I ain't no Siskel and Ebert, but if you need some realism in your science fiction, I don't think you're gonna like that movie. It's interesting though to see that kind of thing, because I mean, Hollywood, and I ain't big on these Hollywood people, you know, I obviously don't fit in with them, but it's interesting to see their take on things, because Hollywood, let's just be real, Hollywood has predicted a lot of the, and I say they've predicted a lot of things, but did they really predict stuff that's going to happen with the movies they made, or did they kind of influence things to happen with the movies they've made? Regardless, I mean, the next one, Terminator's the next one coming. Remember the Terminator? Arnold back in the day? Like, we're about to, here in a few more years, like that, we're going to be living in Terminator world. Hollywood got that one right. But it's interesting when Hollywood makes a movie like Civil War and just kind of see their take on it. And I hope we never... Society is obviously deteriorating. We're in bad shape in this country right now. Not from a... I mean, from a tech... I mean, we are, but from a interpersonal relationship standpoint, we're in bad shape in this country. Everybody hates everybody, and it's compounded by social media because there's no face-to-face interaction anymore. We all live behind our phones and computers. Nobody talks to each other face-to-face anymore. So everything's compounded. But from a just personal... I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but like from a how well off we are in society, like we've really got it made right now compared to generations past. I mean, our healthcare now better than it's ever been. Literally everybody has access to it. I mean, you got a medical problem, you ain't got no insurance, you got no money, you go to the ER. They can't turn you away. You're going to get some kind of treatment. May not be good treatment. You may not get follow-up, but you're at least, if you got an emergent crisis, you're going to be able to get help with that. You know, we've got all this technology that makes our life so much easier now. Internet's faster than it's ever been. The fact we actually have internet, like, you know, transportation is amazing. We can go anywhere. My computer, hell, my damn computer. I got a notification on Saturday that it had shipped, and I clicked on it. That damn thing's kind of Apple, I guess, because I got a MacBook, but I had more memory and a bigger hard drive put on it. And I guess since I had those things added, like it had to be built or whatever, so it's shipping from Apple's factory over there in China. So I get a notification on Saturday that it had shipped, and it would be at my house today, on Monday. And I was like, there's no way that's getting UPS from China to my house in Tennessee. No way. Oh, by gosh, it's coming today. That's where we're at technology wise, man. That a shipping company can ship something from China to my house in Tennessee in about a day and a half. Like, I mean, that's amazing. That's where we're at with it, man. So we've got it made as human beings right now. But just from a society standpoint, like, we can't get along. And so it's interesting to see something like a movie like Civil War to kind of get what's going on here. If I got something, is a fish swimming with my line? What's going on here? We got a fish swim with my line. I'm like, my line's going this way. I never felt the dang thing hit. He's going wherever the hell he wants, I guess. He probably did hit, and I just didn't feel him because the kayak keeps bouncing in the waves. He got tired of waiting on us. He said he's just going to take that bait and swim on with it, I guess. He'd swim toward us. We wouldn't pull him toward us. It's another small, though. Another small fish. We've tore them up numbers-wise today. By gosh, I drove down here to get us a flathead. That's what I wanted. They've let us down thus far. Hell, they let me down all week. Come here, fish. Oh, he's skin hooked. Watch this. See ya, fish. We quick released him. He was just barely skin hooked in the corner of the mouth. But yeah, you know, when you watch movies like that, or you listen to these podcasts, they'll interview these military guys or government guys, people that's got like training or inside knowledge. It's always interesting to hear their stories about, I find it interesting anyway, about like what it would be like in the event of a societal collapse, whether it be from a natural disaster that knocked out our power grid, you know, some kind of terrorist attack that knocked out our grid, a pandemic of some kind, civil war, you know, whatever the case may be, where life as we know it is disrupted. It's interesting. I hope it never happens. I hope none of us ever experience it. But I find it compelling to hear and watch, in the case of like this movie, what we could expect in it. You know, it's like I talked about recently, one of these videos about like Walking Dead. It was a hit TV show there for a while. I was super into it at one point in time, and zombie apocalypse, obviously not a realistic end of the world type situation, but the way that the characters on the show interacted with each other and other people they ran into in their attempt to survive, that kind of was a glimpse into what to expect in that type of situation, when everybody turns on everybody else, when it's situations where it's you or them. And I just found, I guess in my mind, and this is where the movie failed me, and maybe they're being more realistic about it, because in the movie, like some of the places they were traveling through to get to Washington, D.C. were normal. Like they were normal towns going about their everyday lives. Like just pretending that the war wasn't going on around them. Type thing. And so I wonder if it would be like that. Like if we had a civil war again in this country, would there be? And how was it even during the original civil war of this country? Obviously back then we didn't, you know, that was before the West was really developed, and there wasn't as many people back then. It didn't have the number of people in cities and towns and stuff back then as we do now. But I wonder, like, in the areas of that didn't have battles going on, like what was life like in the Civil War? You see the movies and you hear the stories of the battles during the Civil War, but what was an average person in a state that didn't have a battle going on, like what was their life like during that time? Was it just normal times? I don't know. And how would it be in modern day? Would there be sections of the country that had normal power grid? I mean, everything would be disrupted, right? Like if there was a war going on, even in part of the United States, you have to figure shipping routes, planes wouldn't be able to fly over those areas. The highways, interstate systems would be disrupted. I mean, here in Tennessee, like where I live up there, you got the I-40 and the I-75 split. I-75 merges onto I-40, right? They claim it's one of the busiest interstate sections in the country. Can you imagine if that got shut down for whatever reason? Like, that would disrupt all of the supply chain. So even if you were living in a town that wasn't necessarily affected by the war, you would still be affected by the war. So I don't know how it would all go down, but I think if we were in a situation where we lost power, if we lost food, if we lost water for any length of time, any of the basic human necessities, we would turn on each other like that. It would be, especially if there was no law, like if there's no police, if there's no law, there's no consequences really to your actions. If it's you versus them, I think human beings, I think we get real ruthless real quick. And I just don't think, like that movie, when they pull up there trying to work a deal to get gas, like, I just, if you can't, I mean, these reporters in this movie, they were unarmed. They had a little press badge they would show people. I'm like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. I just don't think it would be like that in a real life situation. I think you're either going to have to defend yourself, or you're going to have to show that you can defend yourself and protect your property. You know what I mean? Like, to avoid, you're either going to have a conflict, or the other person you're potentially about to have conflict with is going to have to, you're going to have an old Mexican standoff type thing, to where both of you agree this ain't going to end well for either one of us type thing. Like, that's how, like, it's the weak, the unarmed, like, they're done. That's how it goes down in my mind. But I guess that don't make for the best Hollywood movie. See, this is what happens when a channel cat ties a knot in my line, and I get a pulled off anchor and get a line hung in anchor, and this is where my mind goes, into the world apocalypse situation, y'all. But I hope it never comes to that. It's fascinating to think about, but I hope it never comes to it. But I feel like society is in this pressure cooker right now with social media and all. And it's just, you know, it's just, the fuse is laying there and everybody's striking matches. You know what I mean? It's like anything at any time could set us off to the point of no return. If fish eats that hook, he's going to be the point of no return too. He'll probably pop off like all the others. But I mean, I'm not old enough to have lived through other stuff that has probably happened similar to this in the past. I mean, obviously the Vietnam War was before my time. The Cold War was before my time. Or the Cold War situation, you know, with everybody fearing they were going to get nuked. World War II, I mean, that was literally a battle. World War II was literally a battle for the world as we know it today, in a sense. I mean, if we had lost that war, who knows how things would be for us today. So, I mean, all of these times throughout history, the Civil War, the actual Civil War in this country, there's been numerous times throughout our existence that humans have had these conflicts within society. And yet society has always persevered. I mean, we're out here, we got Civil War guy here behind us firing shots at who knows where. We're surviving out here right now. We're persevering through it. So I'm sure the humans will persevere through the next conflict and the one after that and the one after that. But boy, I just feel like every day with the stuff that's going on, man, I just feel like it could pop off at any time. That's why you got to live, folks. You got to live while you can. If you like doing something, do the hell out of it while you can, because it could all end. And that ain't just true of society collapse. I mean, hell, it could physically, we could collapse at any time. I could have a car wreck on my way home today. You know, you could. I mean, I working in ER as long as I did, I saw it every single day I went to work. Somebody every day waking up and having no idea it's their last day, or that their life is going to change forever. This fish is about to change his life right here, buddy. I'm gonna reel him in. He's gonna think about what he's done as he comes on. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, folks? Bait still looks okay. Let's send it back down. I don't know why I got to let myself get excited over that. I don't know why I did. I knew that was going to happen. I knew it was. I don't know why I let myself start to believe I was going to reel that fish in. And you can see them down there, man. They're down there. Well, you may not be able to see through my rod holders there, but there's some fish there under us. We snake bitten today, y'all. It's that kind of day. My gosh. But you know what? We're healthy. We're out here. I'm cold, but we're out here. We're doing what we love. That's a good day, folks. That's a good day. I don't know if tomorrow will be a good day, but today's a good day. They say on average, you have a life-altering event about once every 10 years throughout your life. And life-altering, that could be good or bad, right? I mean, it could be something like, maybe you get married. That's a life-altering thing, hopefully a good thing. Maybe you have a baby. That's life-altering, hopefully a good thing. You could have a divorce. Life-altering, bad thing. Maybe a close family member, loved one, spouse, mother, father, child, maybe somebody dies. That's life-altering. You know, and throughout the course of our lives, we're going to have 7 or 8 of those major events. And I've been fortunate through my life. I'm 42 now. I've really been fortunate. When I look back on it, I think I've had really 2 life-altering events to this point. And so I'm overdue, really, statistically. But I mean, it's on average. So you would think as you get older, the older you get, the more likely you are to lose someone you love or to have a major health crisis yourself. But I've really had, I guess, 2 major life-altering events. One, I was 25. I had a really bad car accident and messed myself up real bad. I'm the bionic man from the waist down at this point. I've got so much damn metal in me. But it really changed me mentally, my outlook on life and everything, because I thought I was going to be a cripple. I was told after the wreck that I wasn't ever going to walk normal again. I was going to have a limp. I was going to have chronic pain. I was going to need a hip replacement in a couple of years. And it was just, that was going to be my life going forward. So I went from 25, healthy, independent, on top of the world, just invincible, to just flip the switch, man. Have a car wreck. I was even going that fast. I would reach down, I had my cell phone in a cup holder, and I reached for it. And when I did, I got off on the side of the road just a little bit into some loose gravel. And overcorrected, lost control, ended up wrapped around a tree. And crushed my pelvis. My head of my femur went through my acetabulum, which is the actual hip bone there, the head of your femur. Imagine my fist, the way it sets in your hip. This is your acetabulum here. The head of my femur knocked a hole through that. Had broken ribs, lacerated spleen. I'm like, I was messed up. And you know, and I spent the next few weeks after that, I couldn't bear weight on my left side after the surgery there. And so, I mean, I spent the next few weeks thinking, well, this is my life now. It's miserable pain every day. Had no hope that I was ever going to walk normal again. And, you know, I was pretty down and out. I mean, mentally, like I was in some really low spots there. And, yeah, it was a tough time. And thankfully, obviously, everything worked out for me. I didn't experience anything that I was told. I mean, I had 2 different surgeons, both tell me, like, I mean, I wasn't ever walking normal again. But once I was able to bear weight and start my rehab, I bounced back quickly. And to this day, I have no chronic pain. Can't tell you when it's going to rain. I don't have no limp. I mean, other than me just lighting up an x-ray machine, and having a big scar across my abdomen going to my hip, like you wouldn't even know anything's wrong with me. So fortunately, physically, I'm fine. But mentally, going through that, it changed me. You know, I come out of it with a different outlook and a different perspective on life. It changed my priorities a lot. I mean, at that point in time, I was 25. I was in debt up to my eyeballs, man. Like I was living the American dream. I had me a job. Had me a nice truck. I had a motorcycle. I just bought my house. I had that house full of everything a person could ever want, and every bit of it was financed, buddy. Every single bit of it, man. I was paycheck to paycheck and broke, you know. And then I had that wreck, and I couldn't work. And guess what? The companies you owe money to, they don't give a damn. They want their money. And so I come out of that with a different kind of a different mindset, you know, just about especially about money and debt. Like I never wanted to be that way again. Like I had to, when I started rehabbing, and again, I'd bounce back quick once I was getting my strength back, but I wasn't ready to go back to work. But I had to go back to work, and I couldn't get my surgeon to sign off that I was ready to go back. But I needed money. So I went and got a different job and passed their physical because I lied. And I started work before I was ready because I had to. And that really changed my views. I'm like, I'm changing everything. Like I'm getting myself out of debt. I sold off everything. I got rid of everything I could, trying to cut my debt. I decided to go back to school. At that point in time, I was an LPN at the time I got hurt. And, you know, they were telling me, like, probably going to need a hip replacement in a couple years and whatnot. And I'm trying to look ahead in the future. I'm like, there ain't a lot of desk jobs for LPNs, you know. So I went back to school to become an RN, which caused me to take on more debt with student loans, but still it advanced me in my career that I probably at that point wouldn't have done if I hadn't have been in that situation where I felt like I was going to need a desk job within a few years, you know. So it helped me with that. And then once I got out of college, becoming an RN, like, I worked as much overtime. I created my 6-year plan. I got on the Dave Ramsey plan. I created what I called my 6-year plan, because that's what it was going to take me to get where I needed to be, to get myself completely out of debt, student loans, mortgage, vehicle, which I'd wrecked my truck, and I ended up downsizing down to a compact car. But I mean, I cut out everything. I cut out cable. I stopped using my clothes dryer, because I had read an article that clothes dryer, you spend about $4 a month in electricity to operate your clothes dryer. And I was like, that's $48 a year. Hell with that. I don't need it. I'll hang my clothes on a clothesline and dry them. So I string me up a clothesline on my carport. That's how I dried my clothes for a while. I stopped eating out. Like, I mean, I went full on hermit for a while. But I got myself out of debt, and I was able to pay everything off. And now, and I hope I'm never in this situation again, but like, I did that because I never wanted to feel the way I felt when I had that wreck, and I had these, you know, the bill collectors wanting their damn money because I had financed a bunch of shit that I shouldn't have ever bought to begin with, and I couldn't physically work to pay them back. Like, I never wanted to feel that way again. And so that wreck was a life-altering event for me, not only physically at the time, but also mentally going forward. It changed me. And, you know, it's funny how things work out in life. Like, it's amazing that the worst day of your life, I think we've slid down somehow again here, y'all. Or we got a fish on to swim up to us one with this line. This wind may have slid us down a little bit or something here. I don't know what's going on. Either that or a damn fish carried our bait over here. I don't know what happened. I think a fish may have carried our bait over here. But it's funny how things like that work out, to where initially that was a negative, life-altering event for me. And at the time, it was, believe me, I mean, it was definitely a negative, life-altering event. Like, I physically and mentally was just beat down. I mean, go from being 25 years old, on top of the world, young, healthy, independent, to the next day basically having to, I mean, my mom I just got my house, you know, I was on my own. I was living it, man. And then I had to have my mom move in with me. I mean, she was wiping my ass because I couldn't physically do it. And that's just, it's demoralizing. You lose your independence, you lose your dignity. And I mean, that was as difficult for me as just the physical pain I was feeling from the injuries. And of course, everything's compounded too. Is that rod that's getting hit? Everything's compounded too, of course, by the drugs. You know, they had me on a dilaudid PCA pump there in the hospital, and then I come home on all these drugs. And of course, I mean, they were needed, but they mess with your mind, they mess with your emotions and your ability to process the emotions and handle things. Like, all of that's affected, right? And so that certainly adds to it. And I did something stupid. Like, I quit those things cold turkey. I was in so much pain, and even though I was taking them drugs, like, they didn't help me. Like, they'd make me so sick, and they'd make me out of my gourd in my mind, but it wasn't helping the pain. And I stopped. Got something happening with our head bait over here. Oh buddy, that one stripped a little line there for a second. If he'll stay hooked up. You think he'll stay hooked up? I don't know if he will or not. The way we've had everything going this morning. We have slid down this ledge somehow a little bit. I'll see where I'm at on the map card now. We're still on that bottom edge where we want to be. I guess the wind was up so much and rocking us, we pulled down somehow. Let's see what we got here. I don't think this fish has a hook in him. That's why he felt bigger. He's lassoed. He's lassoed around the neck. Look at this. There's our head bait. The hook is wrapped around the damn line around his head. Unless I don't think he's got the fly in him. I see it. I seen part of it there dangling. My gosh, y'all. Boy, when we bring him in too, with him being lassoed, he's gonna act a fool. But we gotta bring him in. Because the way he's lassoed, that's the only way we're gonna... My gosh. Well, at least we didn't have to worry about him coming off. I mean... Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to bring him in to get him. I'm gonna have to bring him in to get him undone here. He's gonna act a fool when we get him in here. I knew it. I knew it. Fish, don't you dare put a hook in me now. Don't you dare do it. You probably put a hook in yourself then. What have you done? No, he don't have a hook in him, y'all. He somehow lassoed himself all the way around. He's a fun sizer. Lord, fish. Let me get you out of here before you knock yourself senseless here on that dang pedal drive. I don't like bringing in foul hooked fish. Oh, Lord. You're actually one I could hold up and justify or putting on the front camera, but you ain't getting it because you foul hooked. Lord almighty, folks. That fish right there is... We've had it all happen today, ain't we? We've had everything possible that could happen today. Everything except a dang flathead happened. We ain't had that happen for us, have we? Y'all got anything on this lens there? No, y'all survived it somehow. Okay. Let's cut us a new head and put on. I don't even remember what I was talking about now. I don't even remember. I was talking about life-altering events. But anyway, the point, I guess, out of all of it is, you never know when your life is going to be altered. Good or bad. But when it happens, you're going to be different. You're going to change. And so if you're happy and content with your life right now, or you got something that maybe it's a hobby, maybe you like going fishing, do it. Go do it, because you never know when you're not going to be able to do it. You know, if you got family members that are older or in poor health, you better call them up, hang out with them, do stuff with them. You got young kids, hang out with them, you know, do stuff, because they ain't gonna be young forever. I mean, I ain't got no kids or nothing, but I try to just, even with like Daphne, you know, my dog, like I try to be consciously aware of the fact, even when I get mad at her sometimes. She's been good lately, but like just the puppy stage, where she'd run off and do stuff. I mean, boy, she had me so mad so many times. I can't tell you how many times she's had me mad. But like right now, where we're kind of at that stage now in her life where she's still young and energetic, but I think we're toward the end of the puppy stage. And I'm trying to just soak it all in, because this stage don't last long, and when it's over, it's over. You know what I mean? And so trying to be consciously aware of that. My last dog, Roscoe, I got him at a time in my life when I was very busy, because I was right in the middle of my 6-year plan. You know, and so I was working as much as I possibly could. And at that point in time, when Roscoe came in my life, I got Roscoe, my last dog there. I got him because somebody had left him for dead in my driveway. He had parvo as a puppy, and they had wrapped him in a blanket and threw him out in my driveway. And so I took him to the vet, and I was like, this dog's, he was skin and bones. And I was like, maybe you can do something with this dog here, because I couldn't shoot him, you know. And a week later, they called me and said, hey, you got your dog, feeling better, and you owe us $800. And so that's how Roscoe came to my life. And I walk in the vet, and I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with a dog? Like, I ain't got time for a dog. I'm gone all the time. I was travel nursing at the time, and so I was out of town a lot. And so, you know, Roscoe's first few years of his life there, I missed a lot of it because I was gone, and I was so focused on accomplishing my goals financially to get myself out of debt, to make sure I wasn't ever going to be in that situation that I was there when I had the injury from the car wreck. Like, I mean, I was just one-track mind focused. But I missed out on all that. And because I mean, I was gone. I typically would work my contracts where I would do a 6-on 8-off schedule. So I would go out of town, work at a facility for do 6 12-hour days in a row, and then I would drive home and be home for a week and go back and do it again. But there were times I would double up on contracts. Like, maybe I'd have like a month left on this contract. I would go ahead and get myself hired on at the next facility. So I would do a 6-on 8-off stretch here, and then the opposite week I would be working at the other place, you know, type thing. I did that. I had some situations like that, so where I'd just be gone. I'd just barely be home. And so I missed out. And, you know, Roscoe, he ended up being the love of my life. That was my baby boy, which I know is silly being a dog and all, but I mean, he was as close as to a child to me as I've ever had or would have ever wanted. And so, you know, when he died, you know, you always think back and reminisce and second guess yourself on stuff. And one of the things that I spent a lot of time thinking about is like, man, I sure missed out on a lot of his life there early on. And you know, you can debate whether or not it was worth it. I'm better off. I accomplished my goal. I mean, I paid off all the debt. I'm in a situation now where I'm comfortable. You know, if God forbid I had a major accident today, or, you know, something went wrong with one of my parents, and I you know, couldn't, YouTube is my job now, but if something happened and I wasn't able to go out and film videos for a period of time, you know, it's not going to put me under. I'm not going to have bill collectors calling. I'm not going to be at risk of losing my house or having the power cut off or something like that, you know. So from that aspect, it's good. But had I not been so tunnel vision about it and maybe took a little longer to accomplish the same goal, could I have had a more involved life, I guess, during that time period? You know, one of those things. At the time I decided to do that, I looked at it as a gamble of essentially betting on myself to live a long life. And that's really the way it worked out, right? Because, I mean, if I live to be, I don't know what the average age of a man in the United States lifespan is now. It used to be 75, 78, something like that. If I was able to live to the average lifespan and I was out of debt and mortgage free and all that in my early 30s, well, great, I've made a great decision then, because I have all this extra life to live where I can focus on living more than being a corporate slave. But if I did all that and then died at 35, well, what a waste, you know? What a waste that would have been. I should have just lived it up. But you don't know. None of us know when our ticket's going to get punched. So it was a gamble. I took a calculated risk, and hopefully I live a long, healthy life and am able to reap the rewards of my hard work in my younger days. But I'll tell you this, folks, this is, you know, from you know, that was obviously a negative life-altering experience in the beginning, which turned into a positive thing now looking back on it, because it changed my life in such a good way as far as getting my finances under control. Because, I mean, hell, I didn't know a damn thing about money. You know, we go through school from kindergarten up through high school. You learn a bunch of useless knowledge that doesn't matter. I mean, think back now. I mean, all the stuff we did in school when I was, and I'm going to piss off some teachers in my audience right now, but the public school systems now is a joke. You're learning stuff that don't matter. You go to history class, you memorize facts for a test as this rod gets hit. You do this stuff, it's all available on the palm of our hand and on our cell phone. We can get any facts we want at any time. We don't have to memorize that crap. Spelling bees. You take your spelling test in elementary school, everything's spell check on your phone now. And yet somehow or another, people still in the comment box misspell words and have poor grammar all the time. I don't know how that happens. I think this fish may be on the fly. You do all this fancy calculus, algebra, all this waste of time, nonsense math in school. I mean, how much, unless you're going to be a damn scientist, you don't need that stuff. You need basic arithmetic. That's all you need. You need to be able to balance your damn checkbook. But do they teach you how to balance your checkbook in school? Hell no, they don't teach you a damn thing about money. Oh no, this is another one of them damn channel cats. He better not knock that head bait off. We just put that thing down. He's on the fly. It's been a fly fishing kind of day, man. The flies have come through for us. Now I'm surprised we ain't caught my anchor rope on a fly by now. Get in here, you old channel cat. Have I told you all lately? It's been at least an hour since I told you how bad I hate these damn things. Oh, he hates me too, apparently. Our head bait still looks good. I'm gonna send it back down. But my point is, you go to school, you waste your whole damn life, your most formidable years in school, learning stuff that really ain't gonna help you in real life as an adult. And the stuff that would help you, if they'd teach you a little something when you go into school, about how debt works and how interest works, especially, like compound interest, how it can work for you or against you. They don't teach you none of that. And then, I get out of high school, I go to college, I got my first credit card at the college bookstore. You go in to buy your textbooks, which that's a whole nother racket. Don't get me started on that. Those crooked enterprise. But you go in the bookstore and they got people in there with the little Visa booths or the MasterCard booth. They want to get you your first credit card there. Buy your textbooks on the credit card. It'll help build your credit score. You got to build your credit history up. That's what they sell you. You don't need no damn credit. If you can't pay cash for it, you probably don't need it. And if you've got a stockpile of cash that you can put down, even if it's something like a mortgage or a vehicle, like if you can put down a big chunk of cash and you got a job where you can show proof of income, you're going to be able to get finance regardless of a damn credit score. But they get you, man. They hook you right out the bat. Right when you're in college, you're vulnerable because, you're fresh out of high school. You're not, even if you got a job, you're not making much money. Your minimum wage at a retail store or fast food place, you don't got nothing. And now you've got all these expenses from having to pay college tuition and buy books, and they got you, man. And they get you in there with the credit card, and you got 28% interest rate, and they don't teach you nothing about that because you ain't learned a damn thing about it in school. And next thing you know, you're in all this debt. And once you get in that debt, man, it takes your freedom away because you're forced to work all the time. Maybe you're forced to do a job you don't necessarily want to do. You can't branch out. You can't try. Maybe you're in a situation where you got a job, you don't like it. You'd like to go into a different field or a different industry, take a different career path, but you can't because you'd have to take a pay cut to go into the other field, and you can't do that because you're paycheck to paycheck, man, because you got all this damn debt. It restricts your movement. It limits your freedom. And that kind of thing, I mean, like that's the kind of stuff that they should be teaching you about and warning you about in school when you're growing up. I mean, imagine this. Imagine if we had learned how compound interest works in elementary school, whenever the hell it is we're learning how to do that kind of math. If you'd learned how that works, and they taught you to take a percentage of your allowance or whatever you had and put that back and invest. If we had started doing that at 10 years old, at 15 years old, my God, we're all in so much a better place now. Even if it's a small amount that we could have put in back in the day, just over time accumulating, like we'd be so much better off as adults, and we would have a knowledge base to prevent. I mean, just my own story here, my own life, like I'm in a good spot now, but I had dug myself such a deep hole right from the get-go, man. Like, I mean, it could have all been avoided with education. And you don't know what you don't know. And so we learn about money from friends and family growing up. Like, you're just going to copy their behavior. So if they don't know what they're doing with money, and they probably don't, because how the hell would they? You're just going to repeat the same mistakes that they've made. And, you know, if I hadn't have had the wreck and just had the bad experience, chances are I wouldn't be out here being some kind of wannabe YouTuber right now. Like, I wouldn't have this luxury, because I would have never, I would be working, I would be enslaved to my job week to week, overtime, just to pay off whatever debt I still had, because I would have probably just continued to make mistake after mistake after mistake, financing your happiness. And I wasn't happy with all that stuff, man. Again, I had it all. 25 years old, I had the house, I had the nice truck, the motorcycle, a boat, all the toys, every bit of it financed, and I wasn't happy. I bought that stuff because that's what you're supposed to do, the American dream. It's going to make you happy. But I never had time for it. I couldn't be happy. I couldn't even use that stuff because I was always at work. I had to work overtime just so I could make the minimum payments. You always had that debt hanging over your head. You know, so it's all an illusion. The real happiness is freedom. The freedom to do what you want when you want. And the way to go about that isn't to buy it. It's to not need it. It's to not need this luxury stuff. Look over here at these houses, man. Those are super nice houses. I guarantee you, down here on the Tennessee River, those houses right there are a few $1,000,000. They got a nice dock sitting out there. They got boats in them docks. I bet if you camped out here for a week in this spot and looked over there, you'd never see them people outside. I don't know what the hell they do, but they probably never outside. Because whatever it is they're doing it all the time to pay for it. Here's a fish maybe. Will this one stay hooked up? He's gonna pull some line. He's still pulling line, man. I think it's a little better one here, folks. If he'll stay buttoned up. I ain't gonna let myself get excited. He definitely stripped some line, didn't he? This is on the head bait or the fly one. Tough to say today. We've had so many on the fly now. It could really go either way. But my point is, I guess what I'm getting at, like, if you'll live a simple life, and that's what I'm living, man. I've got a small compact car. My house is small. My electricity bill is minimal. Property tax is minimal. I just don't need much. You know, I'm in a kayak. I don't need a big 24-foot Sea Arc boat with a 300 horsepower motor. I like fishing out of a kayak, man. I don't spend any money on gas or maintenance or anything on this thing. Goodness, he's pulling again. But like, if you keep your lifestyle simple, it just allows you so much more freedom. Time and freedom, man. That's what you need in life to be happy. This fish needs to get away to be happy, and I ain't letting him get away if I can help it. He feels good. I hate that he's come along this late into the video when nobody's probably still watching. Sure would make my day. You know how to rebound this day of all these mishaps we've had? If this was a flathead. How awesome would that be? I wanted a flathead so bad coming down here today. I just knew we'd set up in front of this creek. As many blues as people have gotten in the creeks this past week getting ready for the tournament, I was like, there's got to be some flatheads working in there too. I mean, the water temps have heated up so much. It's way warmer down here than it is back home. It's 68 degrees here, water temps. Gosh, this is a good fish, y'all. Now we need, you know what, this fish, you know what would be perfect? If this fish would get wrapped around my anchor rope. That's what we need to happen. I almost hope he does, just so we can just have everything go wrong today. I'm telling you folks, all you can do is laugh at it. So far we're good though. So far he ain't got in it. And some big bubbles coming up. Them are some big bubbles. He's going back down, man. Golly bum, this fish is strong. Could this be our flathead? Could it be? We've waited on him all morning. I hope it's him, man. If it ain't him, it's still gonna be a good fish. I don't think a blue would still be going at it this long. I haven't really felt any rolling yet. Boy, man. I don't want to get my hopes up though. I don't even want to get my hopes up that we're going to land this fish till I get my hands on him. You know what I mean? The mini has popped off today. Come on, fish. I just want to get a look at you. Just show me what you are. Just show me. Let me get a look at you. Let me just take a peek. Oh, man. There goes some more bubbles up down there. Golly bum, y'all. This is a strong fish right here. Strong fish, man. I'm just hanging on. He's still just taking some line. This fish here, he may last longer than my camera battery. We're running. There's another thing, another wild card to consider. The dang camera battery's gonna run out before I get a hold of this fish, man. I hope not. Oh, some more big bubbles. I want to get a look at this thing, man. This is gonna be a good fish. Golly, man. I got snot dripping out my nose. Allergy season's full bore. This one here's gonna be front camera worthy whether I got boogers hanging out or not. Big blue. We didn't get our flathead, but we've got a big blue. That is a big blue catch-all. That's a bruiser right there, man. Fish, where were you at on tournament day? I needed this one. This one's definitely over 40 inches right here. Oh, man. He is strong, man. He is not been down there rolling, man. He has been just a solid fight all the way through. I really had hope for a second there. We had us a big flathead. Yeah, that's over 40-inch fish right there, I guarantee it. I ain't got my board with me, but that's a nice fish, man. Whoo, y'all. Fist pump worthy fish, y'all. It's paid off for us out here. All the mishaps, everything we've had go wrong out here, folks, it's paid off with a big fish. I gotta do something though, fish. Y'all gonna have to bear with me a second. Let's put him back in the rod holder just a second. He looks like he's good. He's hooked good there. I've literally, y'all, I have snot hanging out my nose right now. I don't want y'all necessarily to see it. I don't want to have to blow my nose on camera, but I gotta get my handkerchief here. I gotta get it out because it's about to drip down my face. Allergy season, man. Welcome to the South in the spring. Okay, I think I'm prepared now. Okay. Oh, man. Come here, fish. Let's get hold of you now. I hate that you've come along at the very end of this video here because I was only going to film. Need to wrap it up before the 4-hour mark, that's for sure. We're coming up on it here. That's how I know it's about time to wrap up videos and my battery's about dead. My battery pack and then my battery dies. It's about the 4-hour mark. Okay, fish. Oh, Oh, man, that's a good one. Oh, man, y'all. He ate the head bait. All my fish lately, better quality, have been on the chunks, but head baits, man, I just got a ton of confidence in them for that reason right there. Oh, buddy, that's a tank. That is a tank, man. Oh, let's get that line out of the way. Oh, man. We're not in a great position with the sun for me to get a good picture, but we get a picture of that though, by gosh. Fist pump worthy, man. I'm gonna hold you up, fish. Oh, there we go, man. This makes it all worthwhile, y'all. I was getting kind of frustrated with all the mishaps and everything, just piddly stuff out here today that's been a problem for us. Boy, when you get one of these, it makes it all worthwhile. Oh, man. This is the bruiser right here. This one's over 40 inches. This right here I needed on my tournament score. Well, I'm happy getting him today. He wants to go. Let's let him go. There you go, fish. He gone. Yeah, buddy. Yes. Oh, yeah, I needed that fish, y'all. I needed him on tournament day a little more. But just morale and spirits, I needed him today. I think we got slime or water or snot or something on the lens right now. I don't even know, man. Hopefully y'all saw that fish okay. Let me clean off whatever that is. I don't know what it is. It's dried on there, whatever it is. Hopefully it looks okay on my screen this way. Oh man, y'all, that's, I can't tell you how good that feels. I can't tell you, man. Bait still hooked good, looks good. Let's send it back down. That's exactly what I needed. Still ain't got her flathead yet, but this spot, man. Now we've slid down a little further than what I would like to be. I ideally want to be right on, we're on the bottom of the contour. That's fine, but I wanted to be a little bit further up here where that creek originally ran off. So we've slid down just a smidge. But nevertheless, I mean, y'all regular viewers, you've seen me fish these type of places a lot because I love these type of places. Deep points and creek mouths. You put time into those spots, fish work through. And we're in that situation here today. That fish was either coming up his sledge or in and out of this creek, and we had an easy meal for him, and he took it. And you put time into these type of places long enough, and you're going to catch you some big fish, whether you having a day like we're having or not. You're in the right place in the right time, good things are going to happen. And you know, today, I mean, honestly, throughout our struggles here today of just piddly stuff going wrong, we've caught several fish, and the quality hadn't been here really before that fish. But boy, when I go home having caught a fish like that, I've had me a good day regardless, man. So I'm gonna go home happy today, y'all. But we're gonna ride it out here. I ain't got much battery life yet left here, y'all. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna film until this battery is about dead. And then I think I'm definitely going to give it another 30 minutes or so sitting here to see if that fish has got some other fish that size working through. But before I leave today, I am going to take my dragon rods and probably go up in this creek. I don't know, it's going to be hard to do with the wind. With the wind blowing like it is, and me in the pedal kayak. I didn't bring a drift sock. It's going to be hard for me to control my speed. I'll probably just sit here for the duration. If the wind wasn't up, I'd go drag this creek. But the pedal kayak, without a drift sock, it's going to be hard to maintain. It's going to be hard to control the speed. I'll probably just sit here. I'm feeling a lot more confident about sitting here now with that big fish. Here's Civil War back again. He's over there shooting, celebrating me catching that big fish. You imagine you spend millions of dollars on one of them houses and you have to listen to that all day and night. Man, I'm excited, y'all. That's so exciting. Catching big fish is fun, y'all, and it's especially fun in this kayak. See, this right here is exactly why I said, like, if it wasn't for YouTube, here goes this rod again. Oh, if it wasn't for YouTube and tournaments and stuff, like, this is what I do. This is what I'd be doing. I like fishing this way. It's the most fun way to catch fish. And even though it may not have been the most productive thing for us to do, like, maybe we should have been dragging up in the creek today. Maybe that would have been better. Maybe we should have been dragging this ledge. Maybe that would have been more productive. Maybe we should have had our lines cast out and fishing on bottom. Could have been possibly more productive. Maybe we'd have caught more fish, maybe bigger fish. But we wouldn't have had as much fun as what I just had reeling in that fish on the suspended bait right there, man. That's what it's about to me. I want to have that fun, man. I love it. I'm going home happy today, y'all. Now, if I get home and some porch pirate has stolen my fancy computer off the porch, that may sour my day. But all the mishaps we've had, all worthwhile now, man. It's all worthwhile. It's a damn shame it took this long in the video, though. Ain't nobody's even seen that dang fish. Nobody even seen it at this point. If any of you have stuck around to this point, though, thanks for coming with me today. Thanks for putting up with all the nonsense. Been a crazy day of debacles. A lot of bloopers today, but we persevered through it. We got the bite we needed. Still haven't got a flathead, but that's okay. We got us a trophy, by gosh. We got us a golly whopper. Yes, sir. I had to. I brought my ultralight rod with me too at some point, and it'll have to be a day where we ain't got no wind. But there's a bluff wall up here, up the river here on the right. I want to take my ultralight and a gulp, and I want to go down there and fish that bluff wall. I'm gonna make a trip down here to do that at some point. I saw that there the other day when I was fishing with Ryan, and I was like, I'm gonna hit that at some point with the ultralight. I brought it with me today with the thought of maybe sneaking over there for a minute before I left, but the wind's blowing too much today to be ultralight fishing. We wouldn't be able to feel nothing. I'm excited, y'all. Man, I'm pumped up. Old Hannibal says, I love it when a plan comes together. But you know, them fish, the big fish like that, everybody's been catching them there in the shallows. But they don't live in the shallows, you know, and that's why I like setting up creek mouths, because I can catch them, intercept them, going to and from. And when they move back in them creeks, you just don't know where they're going to go. They spread out. They're chasing bait over here, over there. You know, they're dispersing. But to get in and out, there's one path. They work up and down this ledge. They're going to follow the edge of it. They're going to go in the contours. And you can drop baits down vertical right under you and get fish in those places. Well, y'all, my battery, yeah, we're at 7% here. So that's how I know, y'all, my regular viewers here of these unedited videos, most of them are, you know, 3 hours and 40 minutes to 4 hour range. And the number one reason for that is mainly because that's how long my battery pack and the battery inside the camera last. But most of my trips are typically 4 or 5 hour range anyway. I rarely do long trips anymore unless it's for a tournament or unless I'm on a road trip and I'm just trying to maximize my time. But I love this, man. Coming out, Especially, it's chillier than I wanted to deal with this morning. That rod was getting hit. Gunshots probably done scared that fish off. But we're getting into spring now, you know, and can get out, fish from dawn till about lunch. We may end this video on a fish right here, folks. If the battery life will hold up. Nope, he's come off. That's the fitting way to end this video. A chewed up bait on a fish that didn't hook up. I mean, well, that's the way. That's better. That right there is better than ending the video on a fish. That sums up the whole day. A bunch of debacles, some small fish, and one gollywhopper, man. But that's, I mean, that's, I love it, man. I've had, despite it all, I've had a good time today. I hope y'all have had a good time today. We're gonna be doing more of it. Now that we into spring, we can get out here, fish from dawn to lunchtime, man. That's my favorite way to do things. We've pretty much had to water it ourselves. I've only seen a couple boats go by. Like it's been a good morning out here, y'all. But I'm gonna sit here probably another 30 minutes to an hour, I guess. I'm gonna refresh these baits here in a second and drop them down and see if I can't get anything else. But battery life ain't gonna allow, and I don't think there's anybody watching left at this point anyway. I would run back up in this creek here and drag. I brought the dragging rods with me, but I think the wind's just blowing so much with me in the pedal kayak. I don't think I'm gonna control my speed like I would like to, so I think it's a better use of my time, I think, to just stay here on this spot and see if I can get some more fish here in the next 30 minutes to an hour. But anyway, y'all, this battery's gonna die at any point now, so I will tell you bye. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.